Everybody's thinking he needs to say to his team, well, this is a must-win game. Every single game is a must-win game. You don't need to put that added pressure on your team. You need to go out there and tell them, you go out there and execute, limit your mistakes, and you have a chance to win. All that added pressure is going to do is get them thinking and not reacting. Football is a reacting game. And if you're out there thinking that we have to win this game, this is a must-win game, I don't think it's going to do anything but hinder your performance.
I think from week to week, Milt, teams across this league have struggled for consistency. Edmonton Eskimos fall in that category, but this is a huge game for a lot of different reasons to a lot of different people on that football team. J.C. Sherritt chasing that tackling record. You got Jerome Messam, who hasn't been 100% all football season. He's going to make a start, and he's going to have to do his thing. Corey Boyd making some touches. It's going to be a huge game for him, Schulte. To me, this is a game where they're going to go out there and try to find that elusive consistency that many teams across the league haven't had all football season. What better way to do it than go to Montreal, play one of your arch rivals since the 70s, and just get after it and prove that you belong in the playoffs.
Well, I look at this game, and I think it's really important for the Montreal Alouettes, forgive me, Milt, to put a lot of pressure on them. Yes, football is a reactive game, but it's also a premeditated game. And in the world of pro football, there's nothing wrong with your coach going in there. And yes, this is do or die. You have to win this game, because if you go into the playoffs and you sneak in, it's not the same. If you go in the playoffs and you get in there by winning the game, like what the Toronto Argonauts did, then it's a different mindset. I think it is immensely important that the Edmonton Eskimos come out with one of their best games, Milt, and win.
It doesn't matter how you get in the playoffs. Just get in the playoffs. When you get in the playoffs, you're not thinking about it.
Feeling good about yourself and about a team.
You backing into the playoffs is not a good situation.
Man.
Going to the playoffs, playing your best football. Montreal last week.
I want to ask you about that, because a couple of weeks ago, Montreal lost here in Montreal to Winnipeg. Biggest upset of the year. At the time, Calvillo said it feels like we're a last-place team. Trestman called it unacceptable. They've won 2 in a row since. What have you seen from these guys?
Well, over an 18-game schedule, every now and then you're going to have games like that, so it's how you manage it and how you flip it. And they've successfully flipped it by going with the negative of that loss and saying we've hit an all-time low, and you build from there. The Montreal Alouettes are now playing their best football because they've used that loss to their benefit.
And AC's breaking into all his bag of tricks during the Holloway season with running the football. Last week, 2 rushing touchdowns, and I think his team takes a lot from that and said, look, this guy is balling. At 40 years old, we need to follow his lead no matter who's in the lineup. Your lineup's been decimated by your star players. You're playing with a lot of backups, still finding ways to do it. This is a good sign for the Alouettes.
A win for the Eskimos, and they are in. That will knock Hamilton out of the playoff picture, so they are watching this one anxiously. The Eskimos have lost 4 in a row on the road, which is where they are, and they've lost 5 straight to these guys. It's the Eskimos and the Alouettes. The CFL on TSN kickoff coming right up. Gary Ahern of Fort McMurray, Alberta. You could win a 2013 Nissan Altima if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown in today's game, thanks to Safeway's Touchdown to Win promotion. And if a second kickoff is returned, you could win $1 million. Off we go to Montreal for the call today. Here are Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter.
Thank you, David. The Alouettes fine-tuning for the Eastern Final, which will be staged in 3 weeks' time at the Olympic Stadium. We're here at Percival Molson today. It's Fan Appreciation Day, and the Edmonton Eskimos are the visitors trying to punch their ticket for the playoffs on the road to the 100th Grey Cup.
Well, they want to establish that run game. No Hugh Charles in the lineup for the Edmonton Eskimos this afternoon. It'll be Jerome Messam, his first start in 2012. Just 26 carries since returning to the Edmonton Eskimos. He'll get a bunch of the workload here this afternoon, and that creates this matchup between he and Shea Emery, the middle linebacker for the Montreal Alouettes, who's a little lighter in the pocket this week after a fine for a low blow against Brendan Labatt in Saskatchewan a week ago.
Mark Trestman can tie the Alouette club record for head coaching victories with a win today. His team trying to sweep at home all 4 Western teams in 2012. While Kavis Reed's team looking to move into a tie with Saskatchewan. They'd have the tiebreaker for 3rd place if they could do that, but they've been outscored 148-38 in their last 4 visits to Montreal. And the Alouettes were winners of the first meeting of the year at Commonwealth back in August. 38-25 was the final, but the Alouettes jumped out of the gate to a 28-0 lead and were in cruise control most of that night. Trent Guy back for the Alouettes. He's missed a couple with a concussion he suffered on a kick return against the Toronto Argonauts, but back here tonight. And Brad Shaw kicks it off. Here we go. And Trent Guy across the 30. Runs hard over the 40. Up to the 44-yard line. A 30-yard kick return as Trent Guy returns, and Anthony Calvillo leads the Alouette offense out.
Well, and Jamel Richardson's been his #1 target over the last couple of games. 270 yards receiving for Richardson, and he's closing in on another 1,000-yard season. Scott Flory, a 2-time CFL most outstanding lineman, key to the offensive line, and an offense that's going through a lot of injuries in the skilled positions. Lost 2 running backs in Brandon Whitaker and Victor Anderson. We'll start with Chris Jennings, and the offensive line is intact and has to play a good game to protect AC.
Calvillo goes to the air right away, and Noel Devine has it. Noel Devine all the way down to the Eskimo 36-yard line. He started the year as a running back kick returner, trying to get him more involved as a receiver, with the injuries piling up at the receiver position.
Noel Devine is going to be in that in-between area for Donovan Alexander, the safety, as he crosses from the left of your screen in front of number 10. He's almost a little too shallow for him to automatically jump, and yet he's deep enough that it's his play to make across the middle. Good start for the Alouettes.
31-yard pickup, the fake to Jennings. And now into the hands of Bo Bowling, who had his first CFL touchdown last week and has a first down for the Alouettes, who are known as quick starter suits, but in their last 4 games have just 3 points in the first quarter combined in those 4.
Just finding ways. I mean, they're finding ways to win. Maybe not like the script has been written over past years, but I mentioned the injuries to some skilled guys in their offense, including Brandon London, S.J. Green, arguably the best receiver in the CFL. It should be back next week. But this guy, 40-year-old starting quarterback going to the Hall of Fame, just finding a way to get it done.
Jennings off the left side, and he's dragged down by Don Oramacion. The starters to watch brought to you by Rona, proud partner of the CFL and its 8 teams.
We're watching J.C. Sherritt's tackle totals as he climbs up that list. Chris Thompson is the veteran in the secondary at halfback. He's 1 pick behind his teammate Joe Burnett with 5. But I wanted to highlight him and TJ Hill because they will likely get matched up against Jamel Richardson a ton this afternoon. So we'll see who can win those one-on-one battles.
2nd and 8, and Calvillo to the air, over the middle, and the pass caught by Bowling. 2nd of the game for Bowling. We've seen Devine with the catch, and one of the reasons Calvillo's in the lineup today is to get some timing with some new weapons.
As I mentioned, should get S.J. Green back next week. But in the meantime, Brandon London's out for a while. They want to try and get some chemistry with some of these backups. And Anthony Calvillo, according to Mark Trestman and everyone who's watched practice all week, should play most of this game, if not all of it, this afternoon.
3 for 3 out of the gate.
Even though it doesn't change anything in the standings for them, win or lose here.
55 yards so far passing, 1st and 10. Back to throw, and over the head of the intended target, the fullback Patrick Lavoie, whose last touchdown was against Edmonton back in August.
Boy, it's a great discussion, isn't it? Mark Trestman has always done this with teams that have locked things up early, that he'll play Anthony Calvillo this week, probably rest him a little bit next week, maybe the entire game in Winnipeg. But in this game, he doesn't want to have Calvillo wait for 4 weeks before playing in that East Final. I thought we may see a little bit more of Adrian McPherson here in this one this afternoon, but according to the coach, he wants to see his starter in there.
2nd and 10. Into the end zone and incomplete. Trying to get to Jamel Richardson. And the pass broken up by Joe Burnett. Richardson, the player of the week offensively last week, as he has come off 2 strong games. The drive stalls just outside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, pretty good coverage. They're going to move Jamel Richardson all over the field, and he will play The slot back on both sides, the wide side, short side of the field. They'll try and get him at wide out to create some matchups.
So Sean White in. 17-yard attempt is through for the opening points. Here at Percival Olsen. CFL on TSN is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. So the Edmonton Eskimos will take the ball at the 35 after an opening drive field goal by Montreal. An offense that struggled last week in a 39-19 loss in BC, in which Kerry Joseph had only 6 completions. There's one to Shamad Chambers right away, and the fine rookie close to a first down up near the 45-yard line.
Take a look at the Edmonton Eskimos offensively, and I've highlighted a couple of guys here. Obviously, Jerome Messam gets his first start in 2012. Fred Stamps got to 1,000 yards with 305 in his last 3 weeks, and I put Kyle Koch in there, the center, because with the way Montreal plays defensively and moving their safety, Kyrus Hebert, all over the map, including bringing him down into the box, be incumbent upon the center to make sure he makes the correct calls up front so they can pick up that pressure from the secondary and linebackers of the Alouettes.
Some early confusion for Edmonton. They thought it was second and short. They send in the jumbo team. And now handed off to Messam, and a short gain. Jerome Messam, the starting tailback in this game with the injury to Hugh Charles last week. Oren Thompson down. He was nicked last week in the game against BC. Didn't finish, and he has taken a knee on the second play from scrimmage, the left tackle.
Let's take a look at that defense for the Montreal Alouettes, and of course they're led up front by John Bowman, 6 quarterback sacks. Tied for second, Montreal. There's one change in linebacker core. Rod Davis is out due to injury. They're hoping to get him back by the Eastern Final, and Kenny Ingram will play for him in this game this afternoon. And there's Kyrus Hebert, who I highlighted because of a few reasons. One, his play on defense and how they move him around, play him down in the box, get him to blitz the quarterback at times, sometimes drop down low. And also his work on the special teams been outstanding. Leads the league in special teams tackles.
So Thompson hobbles off. Again, didn't finish last week.
Yeah, last week they were under siege against the BC Lions, gave up 8 sacks.
The right tackle, Devin Tyler, moves across to the left side. And Matt O'Donnell in at right tackle. 2nd and 9. Flag down, and early movement halts play. 8 quarterback sacks against the Eskimos last week.
Yeah, right around 9 minutes less of time of possession.
Procedure. Edmonton, number 66. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Right guard Greg White.
8 sacks and just under siege. And on that first play, first true passing play for Edmonton, Montreal Alouettes went with blitz from Chip Cox and Shea Emery.
So 2nd and 14. Back to the Eskimo 41. 6 receiver set. Joseph with time over the middle and broken up. Billy Parker comes across. The intended target was big Jerome Messam downfield.
You know, Jerome Messam was uncovered, and the Edmonton Eskimos may go back to this play, and I wouldn't blame him because he's right here. No one's going to walk out and really cover him, and if Kerry Joseph can get him the ball a little earlier there rather than extending this play into the deep coverage, then they may have something here, because you look, he runs clean down the seam with his hand up waving, but because the ball's a little late getting out of there, gets into the deep coverage, and Billy Parker there to knock it down.
Shot a punt. Trent Guy back. And on the run, Guy lets it bounce and now picks it up in traffic. And the no yards flags fly. Damaso Munoz has the ball. but no yards will be the call against the Eskimos.
Well, and Trent Guy just picked that up in the right time because Grant Shaw was hustling down quickly to try and get to that.
Wondered if that ball came close to hitting Guy near the foot as he ran up to make the play.
No yards. Edmonton, number 45. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So it is no yards. It is Alouette football when we come back to Percival Molson. It's a guy who's been heating up at the right time. With more on Jamel Richardson, here's John Liu.
Thank you, Chris. And if Jamel Richardson has a personal model this year, it would be feeling disrespected by fans, by media, and by opponents. He said last week in Saskatchewan he didn't draw double teams, and he took that personally, thinking that he's better than that. But it's only been in the last 2 weeks that Jamel Richardson has been matching his performance of last year, accumulating 270 yards in receiving, and that resurgence coincided with the loss to Winnipeg, after which time Richardson said there was no way the Alouettes should have lost to a team heading out of the playoffs. And then head coach Mark Trestman came to him and said that the team would be leaning on him more, counting on his leadership and his performance. And Jamel Richardson, since that time, has he's backed up his words with performance, saying that he feels exactly like he did last year when he was on pace for almost 2,000 receiving yards. Guys?
11 catches.
Edmonton is challenging the previous play on when the punt was first touched. It will be reviewed.
So Kavis Reed also got word that maybe as Trent Guy ran up to play that football, it might have nicked his foot. Let's take a better look. Doesn't look like it.
I don't think so.
But the way the ball kicked to the left, it might have created that impression along the bench. Would not have been a challenge from up here, because I'm not sure we showed that kind of angle to make.
Well, that angle makes it look a little closer than it did on that first angle, but I thought when we watched it live that he got out of the way of that first bounce, and then there's no question Damaso Munoz was inside the 5-yard zone after this play.
So they thought it might have nicked Seth Williams, but from those views, doesn't look like it touched any of the Alouettes. And regardless, there's a lot of Eskimos in the area within the 5 yards, whether it touched an Alouette or not.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Here's first down, Montreal.
Let's get back to that Jamel Richardson thought, and maybe Alouettes getting him hot at the right time. Mark Trestman, I mentioned this last week, and I think it bears repeating. He said he was more upset with everything that Jamel Richardson wasn't seeing the ball, because it's in the team's best interest to get it to him.
Here's Chris Jennings, the third starting running back this year, and he has shown well in limited duty, pounding it all the way across midfield. Jennings with 125 yards from scrimmage last week.
And then there's the cutback lane. Good vision down the field once he bounces it, to be able to cut back in behind Scott Flory, as we mentioned, the guy, one of the offensive linemen, one of the veterans that is worth watching the game inside of the game. A nice block in the open field for Chris Jennings.
Victor Anderson had a 100-yard rushing game in August against the Eskimos, replacing Brandon Whitaker. And now they see Chris Jennings and Noel Devine with the run off the left side.
Just found it interesting, Jamel Richardson saying as part of John Liu's hit there that he was felt disrespected that he didn't draw the double team. I don't know that there's many receivers that want the double team and then go over to the coach after the game and say, hey, you guys not double teaming me? What's going on with that? I mean, got to respect the fact that I need at least 2 guys covering me, but they are getting Jamel Richardson hot at the right time.
And they need him. S.J. Green, as you mentioned, is close to returning, but without Brandon London, a couple of big weapons not available. That pass and laying out and then dropping the football. LeBlanc. They're going to rule that it is a catch, and this might get another challenge. They are marking it. It's a first down, Alouettes. did he survive contact?
Yeah, that one seemed like it came out quite quickly, although he has to survive contact with the ground first. And it looks like he does that. TJ Hill pulls it out after he rolls over top of him.
And upon further review, it does look like a catch. There is no challenge.
And a good one.
The flat and the catch made by Brian Bratton. And for Bratton, it's his first catch since the touchdown against Saskatchewan, in which he suffered an injury and missed some action.
Good timing on that out route. You know, Patrick Lavoie, who made that nice diving catch a play ago, is the only Alouette receiver in the lineup right now that's played every single game. The rest have been in and out of the lineup, including Brian Bratton. That was a nice diving catch to hang on with TJ Hill over top of him for a first down to move the chains, give Bratton a chance there, and he moves the chains.
So here we are, 8 minutes in. 4 different receivers for Anthony Calvillo, and none by the name of Jamel Richardson.
Yeah, he'll get it there. S.J. Green is watching from the sideline and eager and anxious to get back in.
Yeah, he looks ready, and from all indications, next week we should see him get 1 game in before the Eastern Final. A fake and a look in the other way, and here comes Devine. Flag down as Devine bounces off contact inside the 5. Finally pulled down by the corner, Joe Burnett.
Blind screen pass to Noel Devine on the wide side of the field from Anthony Calvillo, who's going to do a little play action. I think it's going to come back here.
Holding, Montreal, number 0. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Bo Bowling out of Oklahoma State. I believe he was working on halfback Weldon Brown. As he steps up to make this block and then is going to work it. He's okay right now. He's okay right now. Now they're battling. Now he's in trouble. He's got to let go right there. And he doesn't let go, hangs on. Weldon Brown goes down, and that's the holding call. Bring the play back.
So it's 1st and 20 at the 35. Time for Calvillo. Look for Lavoie, and a late flag in the backfield as Calvillo was hit by Jermaine Reed.
Boy, and this is the great risk that, even though I know there's
Major foul, roughing the passer. Edmonton, number 99. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Now, I've seen Wally Buono in BC do this. I've seen Mark Trestman, 2 outstanding coaches, as good as it gets in the coaching ranks, to play their starter when their playoff place is all wrapped up, and that's first place for this Montreal Alouette team. But watch this hit here as Reed falls into the knees. Jermaine Reed into the knees of Anthony Calvillo. He got up limping a little bit, and this is the great risk of playing AC in a game that doesn't change their standings or their position in the stand.
So it gives the Owls a first down. The fake to Jennings, and now the shovel to Jennings, brought down immediately. Well, defense by Jermaine Reed, trying to atone for the penalty.
He did that well. He just read that. It was about reading the play and taking the running back rather than continuing upfield like all defensive linemen do to try and get to the quarterback. He read the play by formation and just jumped Chris Jennings.
So pick up of 1, 2nd and 9. Calvillo, open man, Devine again with a move and a spin to the 1. Well, they wanted to incorporate him in the passing offense, and they have done that well in this opening quarter.
They found some more athletes to fill in some holes, some big holes and big shoes to fill, but guys making plays. Because watch this move in the open field on TJ Hill. That's nice. That's one of the best tacklers in the game in TJ Hill.
Drive started at the Alouette 42, first and goal at the 1. And Adrian McPherson and the short yardage group are in. Darren Diedrich and Jennings in the eye behind him. Lavoie in motion. And flags fly. McPherson with 7 touchdowns on the year out of this short yardage formation.
This offense is always so well prepared. Well-coached football team.
Procedure. Montreal. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Yeah, they get a procedure call there, but look at the start for Anthony Calvillo. 6 of his first 8, 92 yards. And we've got 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, on pace for a 400-yard game again.
Remember that game in August? They came off the bye. Didn't look like they were hitting on all cylinders, but give Mark Trestman and Anthony Calvillo an extra week to prepare. And as mentioned, they went off to a 28-0 lead. Big to Divine. Lots of time. End zone. Bowling. Touchdown. Well, he liked his first touchdown so much, he's scored another one in his second straight game.
Just watch Anthony Calvillo with poise in the pocket. Just read this defense and take it. One on the play action. Doesn't like the short side. Pump fake. Back to the middle. Over the top. And a mix-up in the receiving core with Brian Bratton and Bo Bowling in the same area, which should never happen, and yet it didn't matter. Calvillo gets that 30th touchdown of the season.
They almost made it unanimous. Jamel Richardson in the line of fire, too. But Bowling has the touchdown, and the Alouettes have a 10-point lead. Closed captioning brought to you by Gibson's 100th Grey Cup commemorative whiskey. Available now in limited supply at local liquor stores. So Bo Bowling in the end zone for the first touchdown of the day, and it's a 10-point lead for the Alouettes, who have regularly had double-digit wins over the Eskimos, who are in a hole here.
Well, and just lots of time for Anthony Calvillo to go through his progressions, look at a lot of different options, and find Bo Bowling.
Joe Burnett on the return, and he is taken down heavily. Check that, Weldon Brown, the hit by Darrell Townsend. (1956), 2 weeks after the Grey Cup, an all-star game was played, and following that game, the worst plane crash in Western Canadian history killed 5 CFL players. Engraved on a nation, the story of one of those players, Calvin Jones, and his grandson, Edwin Harrison of the Stampeders. The crash premieres Friday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on TSN.
That's going to be an emotional one for sure.
Jerome Messam off the right side, not much there.
Let's go back to the progressions. There's AC, and I want to show you the progressions and the options he has. He has Chris Jennings coming out of the backfield. That's number 1. Stop it there. There's Jamel Richardson, number 2. Bratton, the deep one, 3, and there's 4. Okay, now let's run it and show you his angle and how he goes through it. Jennings doesn't like that out of the gate. Looks to Jamel, doesn't like that. Sees Brian Bratton deep. He elects to go underneath to Bo Bowling. 4 choices, went through them all, hit the open man.
Second and long for the Eskimos, who were 3 for 17 in second downs last week in BC. There's a second down conversion. Shamad Chambers has another catch. Couple in the game, and he has 34 in the year. And Kerry Joseph up on the limp after getting hit, and a flag in that area.
Major foul. Montreal, number 91. Roughing the passer. First down.
Alan Michael Cash, defensive tackle, called. So we've had a roughing the passer on either side.
Excuse me, number 91 to the right there is Alan Michael Cash. Watch him step up underneath and just stumbled. I don't think he did that on purpose by any means, but did hit him low.
First down on the Alouette side of half. Shane Emery arrives in a hurry and brings down Kerry Koch after a short gain.
A lot of people upset that Shea Emery's playing in this game, most of them in the province of Saskatchewan, with his low blow on Brendan Labatt that was well after the whistle. The league ruling, feeling that because he was thrown out of that game and missed a half of it, that the fine and that basic half of a game suspension was enough punishment. A lot of people in Saskatchewan disagree.
No huddle, 2nd and 5, and a flag flies as Fred Stamps is brought down. Again, Shea Emery there. 3rd time he's been fined this season.
Yeah, you know, and it's, I know there's an edge, you know, and there's an edge that many linebackers and middle linebackers in this league and in any league have had that mentality that they straddle that edge very closely. They're tiptoeing right along it. Sometimes
Offside.
they go over it.
Edmonton, number 81. 5-yard
Sometimes
penalty, remains 2nd down.
they go too far, but Shea Emery's maybe playing his best football this season and really can just avoid that type of play. Just play the game, play it the way you've been playing it, and you'll be an all-star.
The way he played against Toronto when he was the top Canadian and the top defensive player.
Just cut the other junk right out of your game, you'll be fine.
2nd and 10, and another flag flies. This play doesn't get off after the initial offside against Glenn McKay, and they're going to go backwards again. Kerry Joseph a little frustrated as he sounds off.
Just think of the
Procedure. Edmonton, number 58. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Just think of the season that Emery's putting together. I mean, he has an interception, leads the team in tackles for losses. 5 sacks in his last 7 games. I mean, he's playing an outstanding season.
Devin Tyler called, excuse me, on the last penalty.
Cut all that other stuff out there.
2nd and 15. Joseph steps up and incomplete. He wanted Marcus Henry over the middle. Looked like he was open, but Kerry Joseph can't make the connection.
Well, there is an opening. There's almost a void. I've watched a couple of plays now for Kerry Joseph that he has that void in between the deep defenders, whether it be Kyrus Hebert in this case. There's this void right in here that he's trying to attack. We saw him try to get it to Jerome Messam. He was a little late on that throw, and because he's flushed, he's a little late on this one too. Earlier on the throw, and he gets it in front of Kyrus Hebert.
Trent Guy awaits at the Alouette 20. Final minute of this opening quarter. A poor kick gets a decent bounce, and there won't be a return. It turns out to be a 38-yarder down to the 20-yard line, where Anthony Calvillo will go to work.
19 seasons, 40 years old, and he has never, in all of the games, rushed for 2 touchdowns like he did last week against Saskatchewan. You have to put this under the element of surprise category, because you can bet the Rider defense did not game plan for 36 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns from number 13. But I mentioned it off the top, Chris, and I truly believe it. He's just amazing to watch because he finds ways, and with his talent, hurt, and on the sideline, and S.J. Green, Brian Bratton, Brandon London, well, if he has to run for a couple, he'll do it.
Looking like the kid from Lawente. There's Jamel Richardson with a catch off the tip. Able to hold on with Joe Burnett wrestling him down.
Now, having said that, in this game this afternoon, it would be a real risk for Anthony Calvillo. I mean, it's a risk that he's out there anyway, but it's a real risk that he goes and tries to run to win this game, although you can't take that competitive edge out of a player. There's just no way. I mean, ask Buck Pierce. I mean, that's the way he plays. That's the way quarterbacks play to win, and I'm certainly not going to question the strategy when you're talking about Mark Trestman and his resume.
You look at how the Alouettes ended last year, 3 consecutive losses to finish the season, and then they lose the Eastern Semi at home. Pass broken up. Chris Thompson tracking Jamel Richardson and forcing a Montreal punt. Final play of the opening quarter. A good one for Calvillo and company. They lead by 10. Numbers after 15 minutes. We talked about a lack of offense for the Eskimos last week in BC, and it continues here in the opening quarter.
Yeah, they haven't been able to find any traction, haven't really established a run game. You can see just 3 yards rushing in that time of possessions adding up for the Montreal Alouettes. Look like they're just hitting on all cylinders, even with all these guys out of the lineup in their talented, skilled positions. Doesn't matter, they got AC.
Important game for the Eskimos. So we've talked about the crossover possibility, but the Hamilton Tiger Cats are watching, and with a loss, their final game of the year would mean something. If Kivas Reed's team comes back today and wins, the Ticats would be eliminated. But some work to be done here for Edmonton in a place where they have not won since 2007, and since that time have really been dominated by the Alouettes here on Mount Royal. This is Joe Burnett and Chip Cox there to help bring him down.
You know, with this movement on defense from Montreal, that Edmonton could get the ball a little bit more to Jerome Messam. Just 2 carries for 3 yards in the first quarter, or if they want to try and get that run game going, try to win a few first downs and give Kerry Joseph some manageable second down situations, 2nd and 5 or less. Maybe even Corey Boyd can roll in there a little bit.
Expecting to see him take some reps in this game and maybe even be deployed as a receiver. Kerry Joseph, here comes the rush. Long out to the wide side for Kuhorn. And he is taken down on that far side. And Kuhorn, a little limp. Great second year for Nate Kuhorn, 42nd catch after 2 in his rookie season.
This is that situation we're talking about, though. They didn't get it off the run on first down, but they did win first down on this play. So 2nd and 3, a lot of plays in the playbook here.
Kenny Ingram had to scramble off as the Alouette defense had 1 too many. 2nd and 3. Gonna throw, and it's incomplete. Or no, yeah, incomplete. Stamps the intended target. Unable to hold on.
They couldn't get the change to move, and one play that they may think about, Edmonton, is with Shea Emery walking away from the middle. How about that old quarterback draw that Kerry Joseph absolutely loves to run and has done throughout his entire career? A real opening in the middle for him. Go ahead and try and get that first down, and had a chance at just 2nd and 3, but incomplete, trying to get it to Fred Stamps.
Dwight Anderson on the scene, and so once again, Grant Shaw has to punt. Guy just let that one go over his shoulder. Now hauls it down, and he gets dropped just beyond the 10-yard line. A 50-yard boot by Shaw. 4 on the return. Well, today on Fan Appreciation Day, honoring 2 of the greats, including the all-time leading rusher in the CFL. With more, John Liu.
Thank you, Chris. I'm here with Mike Pringle and Tracy Ham, and normally guests go up into a nice warm box. You guys have been down here on the sideline since the start of the game. Mike, it's been a couple of years since Montreal. Safe to say you're relishing your visit back to your old stomping grounds.
Yeah, I'm more comfortable on the sideline than I am in the play booth, so I'm having a good time down here watching the game.
What memories come to mind being back here at Molson Stadium?
Just being around the fans, hearing the fans cheer, watching all the excitement on the sideline.
Tracy, I think you said that today feels like a good winter day in Georgia.
It's a good football day in Montreal, but it's a good cold day in Atlanta, Georgia. But it's good to be back in Montreal. So we always have a good time coming back to Montreal.
When you were playing here, Anthony Calvillo was your backup, and now he's the all-time passing leader. Have you had a chance to connect with him after not seeing him for a while?
Well, I try to leave him alone. Anthony's handling himself very well, and on game day, really, you don't want to break your routine. So we just really come to enjoy the game.
Thanks for this, Tracy. Thank you, Mike. Let's send it back to you guys.
A couple of former Eskimos as well.
2 great legends down there, man. It's been, with this and the Hamilton game yesterday, just outstanding to see some of the CFL greats down on the sideline. Tracy Ham, you know, you got to give him a lot of credit for Anthony Calvillo's success. He came from a Hamilton team where he was just under siege and had all kinds of difficulty. And Tracy Ham was one of the guys who really helped him become a pro. helped him to understand the offense, the Canadian Football League, all the different rules and how to utilize motion and waggles and timing, and just real important to the success of Anthony Calvillo.
Second down, and Calvillo has a strike. Brian Bratton, another catch, pulled down by Joe Burnett. Boy, I think back to the 80s when it was Dunnigan, Allen,
Oh,
and
my goodness.
Ham.
Oh, yeah.
How good does that get?
You know, and I played against Tracy Ham, and I can tell you how tough he was to defend because he was a dual threat, could run and pass, did it so well, almost like a running back out of the backfield. And speaking of running backs, it doesn't get any better than Michael Pringle. 2,000-yard season in 1998. Pringle was impossible. Even when you knew, everyone knew they were going to run, you could not stop him.
Bump from Calvillo, and then underneath another receiver for Calvillo today as Eric Delorier has his first catch.
Remember when they were the Baltimore Stallions and Mike Pringle was playing in Saskatchewan, and we were down by 4 inside the 10-yard line against the Stallions, and Mike Pringle, they proceeded with a 4-point lead to kill the last 5 minutes of the clock by giving it to Mike Pringle about 14 times in a row. They got it down to our 1-yard line and kneeled down once. Most humiliating game I've ever been in, because we were in the huddle defensively saying, guys, they're giving the ball to Mike Pringle. Let's stop 27. Couldn't do it.
Here's Chris Jennings, and he looks good today. Kicks it outside and then gets run out along the sidelines. Munoz and Sewell there. By the way, Anthony Calvillo has regained the league lead in passing. He has gone ahead of Henry Burris here with this first half.
You know, these guys like to play in front of the legends as well. Calvillo's just looked real sharp this afternoon, playing in front of his old teammate Tracy Ham. And even though Chris Jennings is a young guy at Arizona, just in his second year here, you know he's done a little research and gone on the internet to look up Mike Pringle and some of what he's done for the Montreal organization is playing well in front of him as well.
First down, Richardson taking the hitch down to the 42-yard line. Second catch of the game for Jamel Richardson. But we've seen Brian Bratton, Bo Bowling, Noel Devine, Lavoie caught a pass. Richardson and Delorier, everybody's getting in on the act for Anthony Calvillo in this first half.
Yeah, and what's surprising to me, and I guess I shouldn't be because this is a finely tuned machine offensively for Montreal, is that there's been really no push from the Edmonton D line. That's been a strength, even though they've had a ton of injuries. They've been able to fill them well.
Second down, and Jennings with the plunge. We were expecting that there was a chance Marcus Howard would play in this game. Howard warmed up briefly prior to the game, but is a late scratch.
Well, and I say I shouldn't be surprised because of the O-line play, but Jamel Richardson, by the way, with his last catch, has moved up the Alouette list. Past Peter Delariva, all-time receptions in Alouette history, and Ben Cahoon on top of that list.
Showed Mike Pringle's name on the wall of honor, and big number 74, but deserving member of that elite club. Measurement, and looks like it may be just enough for a fresh set of downs. Richardson started the game needing 46 for his fifth 1,000-yard season. Boy, you didn't think he'd have to grind into game 17 to do it after last year when he had 1,777 yards and was talking about 2,000. But he's got off to a tough start, a knee problem in training camp, and he really hasn't hit stride until the last couple of weeks. Jennings, look out, almost picked off. TJ Hill, the former Alouette.
TJ Hill is the most underrated of the Edmonton defenders, I believe, because he does so many things well, doesn't say a word, just goes out and plays, brings his lunch bucket to work. And he's that kind of player, but he's always around the football. He's got over 70 tackles, has an interception, almost another one there, as he's going to be matched up against some of these good receivers from Montreal.
2nd and 10. Alvio scrambles. Lavoie unable to bring it down, and there's TJ Hill on the job again in coverage against the fullback.
Or started his career as a Montreal Alouette, first 2 years in Montreal. 2 of his career 13 interceptions as an Alouette, and 6 of his 11 career sacks he got in Montreal. Those are his first 2 years of the league, then moved to the Edmonton Eskimos. And, you know, we don't talk about TJ Hill enough because he doesn't go out searching for television cameras or anything like that, but there's a high degree of difficulty in that position throughout the league, that the adjusting linebacker to the strong side who's got to cover Jamel Richardson one play and stop the run the next.
Mark Trestman elects not to try a 45-yard field goal. Instead, Sean White out to hit the corner, and it looks like he's going to do just that. What a terrific kick, bouncing out at the 4. CFL on TSN is brought to you by Wendy's new Bacon Portobello Mushroom Melt, featuring applewood smoked bacon, portobello mushrooms, and a melty cheese sauce. Wendy's, now that's better. Wind at the back of the Eskimos here, likely a factor in Mark Trestman's decision to punt, and it was well executed. Gary Joseph and the Eskimos backed up at their 4. Hand off, and Messam tripped up immediately. They haven't been able to establish a ground game so far, maybe 2.
Well, it's been a lopsided game so far. The Montreal Alouettes dominating and looking real good offensively. 193 yards to 35. There have been 24 Montreal offensive plays. That's the 10th for the Edmonton Eskimos so far in this game.
See Matt Bertrand back in the lineup. It's been a long way back for him. The Laval product, fullback for the Eskimos, lined up as a tight end on 2nd down from his end zone, looking for Kerry Coke downfield, and the pass incomplete. Dwight Anderson step for step on the coverage.
Well, coming in this Edmonton offense, you mentioned the BC Lion game. They were under siege there, 8 sacks allowed, less than 10 minutes, or 10 minutes difference in time of possession, and there's their rankings offensively. Just a struggle for them. Hugh Charles was such a big part of that offense. All-purpose receiving out of the backfield, yards from scrimmage.
That game last week, the Eskimos amassed only 29 yards on 2nd down. 10 yards deep in his end zone. Grant Shaw will take a knee. Even with the wind at his back, they will concede the safety. And it's 12-0 Montreal. Our sack tally brought to you by Purolator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check the Grey Cup here. It's Purolator Tackle Hunger Day at Percival Molson as we get closer to the goal of £1 million. So far, no donations today from the guys on the field.
That's been a bit of a surprise for me because, you know, I mentioned the injuries to the D line, but Ted Laurent's in the lineup, and Mondo Sewell's done a good job filling in for some of the injured Edmonton Eskimos. They haven't got a very good push yet.
Shaw with the kickoff after the safety, and Trent Guy up near the 40-yard line. And Michael Ola looks like he's been shaken up. Ola, a starting left guard today in place of Andrew Woodruff. And now he's in some difficulty.
And you take a look, he's making the block right there and just gets rolled on that ankle, left ankle or knee from behind. Looked like it was Jermaine Reed.
You mentioned the offensive line for the Alouettes hasn't had to undergo too many alterations this year. Jeff Parrott missed 4 games, and Ola replaced him for that. And now Woodruff misses his first, but Luc Brodeur-Jourdain, Scott Flory, Josh Burke, all playing in their 17th consecutive game. So Christian Matt comes in at the left guard spot. Time for Calvillo, looking deep. He's got Delorier. Eric Delorier inside the 20-yard line. Just his 12th catch, but Delorier has made some big ones. That for 55 yards.
On cue, no push from the Edmonton D-line. Take a look at this offensive line, set up nicely. Look at the pocket. No one in the face of Anthony Calvillo. Great protection, allows him to step up and let this one go to Delorier right down the seam. He's got in behind of Chris Thompson. Protection up front. We just talked about their O-line, and come up big for that deep ball. You have to have that extra second to go deep.
4th catch for over 30 yards by Delorier, who gets more reps in the absence of Brandon London. Calvillo holds on, reboots, and now takes off, and Sean Lemon upends him out on the track, and that's what you were concerned about. No flag, and Calvillo looks like he's okay.
Well, and should there have been a flag? The crowd here, home crowd, thinks there should have, although he was right on the sideline and pushed. He ends up stumbling into the track, which made it look a lot worse. But the initial push was right on the sideline.
Chris Lemon, who had 2 sacks last week, 3 in his last 3 games. And that's a loss of 3, so another sack is credited to Lemon. 2nd and long, looking for Jennings, and incomplete. The flag flies. Simone Lawrence was tracking Chris Jennings out of the backfield.
Wondering when that double move, when Jennings did that out and up down the sideline, and when he made the double move, it looked like Simone Lawrence may have grabbed on a little bit on the turn, on the break. It was a pretty subtle one.
Forward pass interference, Edmonton, number 48. It was less than 10 yards when it happened. It will be half the distance to the goal with an automatic first down.
That's the route right there from Chris Jennings coming out of the backfield, and he's going to run the double move. And when he makes the move down the sideline right there, Simone Lawrence grabs him and pulls his left arm a little bit. Again, not a huge grab, or really didn't pull him down, anything like that, but enough to draw the flag.
First and goal, Jennings, big hole, and he pounds it down to the 2-yard line. Bigger back than Brandon Whitaker
and Victor Anderson, no question. But as you can see, can run routes as well, and ran a pass route so well that drew a penalty flag to get him down on the doorstep here.
And the short yardage group comes on. Adrian McPherson checks into the offense. And now they're going to take timeout because
timeout's called Montreal.
Not sure what play call they're going to utilize here on 2nd and 2. Mark Trestman, Marcus Brady, Calvillo ball conferencing. And it looks like Calvillo's going to come back in and retake his spot, and McPherson goes out.
Is it just me, or has Anthony Calvillo had the football for this entire first half?
Feels like it.
Buffalo free zone.
19 minutes for the Alouettes with the football, 7.5 for the Eskimos. So, so Calvillo in bunch formation to the left, and Jennings in the backfield. Jennings, the ball carrier. First surge didn't get there, and the Eskimos keep him out.
Ted Laurent stepped up. J.C. Sherrod in the middle of that one. He did a couple of tackles to catch Willie Pless, the Edmonton Eskimo list, and he steps into the hole as well, along with Ted Laurent. They just play a little hard-nosed goal line football down there.
So the Alouettes offense stays on the field, and now the short yardage team comes back, and they'll try it one more time. 3rd and goal from the 1. McPherson, and he gets stacked up. There is a flag. McPherson into the end zone. Touchdown. Let's see what the flag's about.
Little second effort, and the flag often means the D-line tried to anticipate the snap count, or were inching over into the neutral zone. We'll see what this flag is, whether or not they were drawn.
Offside, Edmonton, number 96. Penalties declined. Touchdown.
Brandon Lang offside. The first surge seemed to stand McPherson up, but behind Scott Flory and Luc Brodeur-Jourdain, he gets in.
There's the offside, hand over the line into the neutral zone, and it was that second effort. And Jeff Parrott leading the way as well on Ted Laurent. Had to get him for sure. He's the guy who stopped Chris Jennings the previous down.
8th touchdown for McPherson on the year. White the extra point, and the Alouettes in control. We're late in the first half. GMC Live at the Half comes your way following the end of the second quarter. Dave, Matt, Schultze, and Milt will give you their thoughts on what we've seen, which has been a pretty dominant performance by the team that doesn't need to win.
Well, no question, and that's a couple of things that surprised me. Just not really the life in this Edmonton team than you'd expect.
Gary Koch on a return, trying to provide a spark.
And that might be that a goal line play and that little return right there are really the two, higher energy type plays. Haven't seen real pass rush from their D line, Edmonton.
Davis Reed's offense has 35 yards so far in this first half, and a couple of injured Eskimos. Matt Bertrand is one of them. And Darcy Brown is also down. So 2 guys, same position, fullbacks.
Carisse Bear on those cover teams I mentioned off the talk. I think he was part of it. Wow.
And
Bertrand was out before he hit the ground. He was out. He's going to have to go through the protocol. But that's Brown down there, isn't it?
That's Brown's up
Brown's
now.
up and going. That is Bertrand still down.
Matt Bertrand, who has been out since the 4th game of the year with a groin tear. And the Eskimos excited to get a veteran of his ilk back to help stabilize the offense. But
wow, and they're getting some oxygen to Matthew Bertrand, and you could see on that hit that they just like he was out cold before he even hit the ground.
Ninth year, Bud of Laval. And now starting to
move, go through the checklist to make sure that his back and neck are okay.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
You see so many collisions in the course of a game. That one didn't look
well, kind of glancing, really, and then, but it's not necessarily the impact, but it's where you get hit sometimes. And Carissa Bear right in the middle of your screen, and here comes Bertrand. Well, he did get it right on the logo.
May have been that double hit too. He seemed to
on the other side,
careen off and into Sewell. He got caught in the middle.
He was knocked unconscious before he hit the ground, and that's a great sign, up and walking around.
Former quarterback at Laval. Vanier Cup champion. And his return after a long wait has been sidelined here in the second quarter. Gary Joseph's got just under 3 minutes to work with. Trying to give the Eskimos something positive heading into halftime. Pressure's on. He escapes. Rouillet in pursuit, and Anderson. And Gary Joseph dives across midfield.
Kavis Reed, another injury, losing his fullback Matthew Bertrand here. And when you look at their participation roster, the 46-man roster each game, this team, I know a lot of teams have had injuries, but the Edmonton, including Montreal, but the Edmonton Eskimos, wow, they win in the most injured category, no question. That's almost 2 rosters.
83 have made it to the 40 list of 46. There's pressure, and Joseph gets nailed. Kenny Ingram off the edge. Joseph wants a penalty, and I'm surprised one wasn't thrown, because Kenny Ingram with a headshot on Kerry Joseph.
Yeah, he was not happy getting up. Let's take a look. Kerry Joseph back in that shotgun. And he's coming off the edge untouched. Kenny Ingram up high with his chest to the head. Kerry Joseph, and I wasn't, he was upset down the field as well. There might have been pass interference on Stamps.
They're down, shot a boot. And a good one will sail all the way into the end zone. And this will get the Eskimos on the board. Good guy dances around a bit, but the single point is recorded.
Just to wrap up that thought about these Edmonton injuries, it's not just the fact that they've had more than any team, and every team can say that they've been hit with injuries, but Kavis Reed has had to revamp his entire defense, including really an all-star defensive line. Their best player, Marcus Howard up front, was almost ready to go, was on the 46 for this game this afternoon, didn't make it. Julius Williams, of course, has missed action. Ted Laurent missed action. It's been that kind, and it's been a lot of Canadians. Calvin McCarty out. We just saw Matthew Bertrand, and that's tough to juggle. When you're losing Canadians and you're revamping your defense, it's been a struggle for Edmonton all year. They've had more than any team.
By comparison, Montreal 64 men have been on the 46. Pass over the middle, and wide open was Jamel Richardson, and he's dropped at the Eskimo 45-yard line. No double coverage on that play.
I'm playing against the zone, and again, no pressure up front, and extra protection for AC as they make sure that Jamel Richardson has the time to work through this zone. Up the field, take the jam, push off, and look at it open up in the middle for him, and they continue to move Jamel Richardson all over the formation.
30-yard pickup, and now Calvillo 14 yards away from 5,000 on the season. And he wants Richardson again, and this one too far. Would be the 7th time in his career Anthony Calvillo has hit 5,000.
The only player in league history to do that. You can get there. The touchdown pass is 30 at the Bow Bowling earlier in this game.
And that extends his touchdown streak to 17. 2nd and 10. Now down the rail, it's Delorier, and a touchdown. Delorier was out of bounds. The Eskimos arguing that, but if he was pushed out, he's eligible to come back into the field and play.
Yes, he is. If he ran out on his own, he is not an eligible receiver. So every scoring play is reviewed back to the snap. I'm sure the league will take a look at that, but...
And there is a flag there that was thrown along the sideline. So this one is going to be talked about by the officials.
Well, let's take a look. Was he pushed out or did he run out on his own? Turned up?
He ran out on his own, it looks like, against Rod Williams. And this one may not stand.
Did Rod Williams lean on him at all?
There's no infraction on this play. The player was pushed out of bounds by the defense. The touchdown is scored.
Well, they're calling him pushed out. We will see a challenge, and it didn't take long as Kevis Reed drills the challenge flag out past the numbers in disgust.
Well, you know what? I think Delorier's first step out of bounds was on his own. It looked like. And now, he did get contact once he was out, but I think that first step, he went out on his own. Now, let's take a look. One more time. He's not contacted there. He's on the line there. Well, back it up a second.
The previous play is under review by the command center. Edmonton does not need to challenge this play.
And the command center is going to take a look at this anyway. I guess that's the determination because he's not touched when that left foot is on that line. Now, is it on the line from that angle? Can you tell? Because once he takes the next step, he is touched. Either way, though, you're not pushed.
There's not much doubt on that replay that even if there's a touch, it didn't direct Delorier out of bounds. So get the ruling from the command center on whether that's considered pushing a player out of bounds. Looks like Delorier's route took him out on his own. Would be Delorier's first touchdown of the season. But was he out before touched and pushed? Are they the same in this case?
Yeah, that's the good question. You know, I've always thought of it as any sort of contact at all with the receiver going out of bounds because of that contact constitutes being pushed out of bounds.
Looks like they're bringing the football back before the announcement.
After review, the player did in fact go out on bounds on his own. Therefore, illegal participation, Montreal number 9. It's a 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
So not only does the touchdown come off the board, it's a penalty, and the ball is back at midfield.
Yeah, that first step, I mean, first of all, it looked like his left leg was on, or left foot was on the line on his own before any contact was made. And then again, you could argue that that contact didn't push him out anyway. It was just a touch while he was already out of bounds.
And Kevis Reed was also suggesting there could have been a face mask penalty against Delorier in the end zone, but he wins the challenge.
Well, that's interesting, though, Chris, because that's something that I think the league should start to look at more. As offensive players when they try and run that stiff arm to get their hands up in the face of a defender trying to make a tackle. I mean, if you're going to crack down on defensive players hitting offensive players high and to the head and face mask, you got to do it the other way as well.
So 2nd and 20. Calvillo slinging for Richardson, incomplete. You know, just back to the play we just saw, it was interesting that the official initially made the right call. He threw the flag, but they conferenced and decided to pick it up. And it was finally the video replay, so the third look at it broke the tie.
Well, I think initially they said there was contact made, so assume that it was the contact that pushed him out, and therefore he'd been eligible to come back in. But again, upon review, you all saw that he went out on his own.
So Burnett drops back with Cope. Sean White looking to pin the Eskimos once again. Haven't had good field position for most of this first half. And look at Emery on special teams with the tackle. So just over a minute for the Eskimos to try and salvage this first half.
Yeah, and maybe just get, not even salvage, Chris, but maybe just even get something positive. I mean, they've got to start to find a way, push the ball. Fred Stamps has been invisible, and Kerry Joseph not getting the time needed to find him down the field. I don't think the Montreal Alouettes doing anything special for Stamps, not a lot of double teams or anything like it.
Kerry Joseph has 10 completions in his last 6 quarters. Low snap, pressure off the edge. Here's Fred Strand for the crosser, and Billy Parker will toss him down just beyond the 25-yard line.
Nice pickup on the blitz by Kyle Koch, the center, who's going to come out and take Chip Cox. He does a good job there, because if he doesn't get there, Chip Cox will make this play. He steps out here. Cox coming off the edge right here. That play's made. Big 61 gets a piece right there, and that gives Kerry Joseph a chance to get it to Fred Stamps.
The 11-yard pickup for Stamps. And a first down. Joseph with 42 yards passing and an injured Alouette down. Kyrus Hebert took a knee at the end of that play. Kerry Joseph's pass percentage now in the last 6 quarters is about 33%.
Yeah, he was 6 of 24 against the BC Lions. Marcus Crandall working with him there. And in behind, Stephen Giles and Matt Nichols listening in. That's one way to get it to Stamps on that crossing route. Kyrus Hebert will have to sit out at least 3 plays. He looks like he'll be okay. But again, the key being Kyle Koch, a guy we said to watch and throughout this game a little bit, trying to pick up these blitzes. He gave Kerry Joseph a chance on the last play.
Stamps' first catch of the day gives the Eskimos a first down at the 28. And early movement looks like the right side of that offensive line.
Part of the job of the center on the offensive line.
Procedure, Edmonton, number 64. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's Matt O'Donnell.
Check the last play with Kyle Koch just before they got that procedure call. Watch how he's checking out the front, looking at the linebackers, pointing out linebacker blitz, checking them out, telling his offensive line. Now Matt O'Donnell moved while he was trying to coordinate everything up front, but that's the role of the center, and that's why he's so important in this game. They've got to start to give Kerry Joseph a little more time.
Sectional conduct, Edmonton, number 64. 10-yard penalty.
Wow.
So Matt O'Donnell
something said
chirped to the official and gets called again, and they'll back it up further. And that, after O'Donnell's procedure call, was the 8th penalty of the half. That's number 9. Not sure what he was protesting, because you could see him jump early, unless he felt that sometimes you hear those defensive linemen make calls and create that confusion and procedure. Working against John Bowman. 1st and 25. Joseph over the middle, and Marcus Henry a catch. Gerald Brown helps drag him down, along with Daryl Townsend, who's moved into the safety spot for Hebert.
You know, but still a guy that I think they have high hopes for. I know we're in a hurry, but I just want to show you quickly this block here as he's in against John Bowman, and Matt O'Donnell takes that inside move and washes him inside, allowing Kerry Joseph to throw. They have high hopes for him. He's young, but he'll come on.
Henry's got another back-to-back catches, and they do get a first down out of a 1st and 25. Marcus Henry with a pickup of 12.
By the way, it was Marcus Henry's arrival into the roster that allowed the Edmonton Eskimos to trade Greg Carr to Saskatchewan for Matt O'Donnell.
8th game of the year for Henry. Back-to-back first downs, clock running. Pressure off the edge, and Joseph made Ingram miss, reloads and throws, and it's intercepted. At midfield, Kerry Joseph put it up for grabs, and Chip Cox has it. His 3rd interception of the year and his 2nd against Edmonton.
Pressure coming on Kerry Joseph from the outside edge, the left tackle just to the right of your screen. It's going to be Kenny Ingram. He's coming off the edge there, and he gets his hand on the football, yes. I was going to say he flushes Kerry Joseph first, but then also gets his hands on it.
Kenny Ingram in more defensive situations, replacing the injured Rod Davis. And there's the tip. After Joseph escaped the initial rush off the edge from 43.
And a good job of him not avoiding the contact and not running into Joseph and drawing a penalty flag.
13 seconds for Calvillo to work with. He's going to take a shot downfield. Jump ball, and it's intercepted back the other way.
Yes, they are calling it an interception.
Rod Williams comes up with it, his 4th of the year, and that's his 2nd against Calvillo.
And a team that leads the league in interceptions. Taking a shot down the field, perfect position, timing his jump. And is down by contact before it's knocked out of there by Bratton.
So the 26th interception of the season for the Eskimos. That's a league high. Looks like Williams may have got poked in the eye at the end of that play. Getting attention on the sidelines. And that was an eventful final 30 seconds.
Defense that leads the league in takeaways. Gets another one. And needed it.
Kerry Joseph took a knee, but they still have to do it one more time. Jerome Messam already headed off, but they'll have to snap the football one more time. And now we're done, first half. And the Montreal Alouettes in control of proceedings through 30 minutes. 19-1 for the home side.
Live at the Half is brought to you by GMC Sierra. We are professional grade.
Anthony Calvillo has now thrown a touchdown pass in 17 straight games, one in each week this season. For the 2nd week in a row, he finds bowling in the end zone. Milt's going to break that one down for you momentarily as we welcome you inside our scary CFL on TSN studios. Boom. Here we are. Hi, everybody. Eskimos are a little scary right now, too, aren't they? 19-1. Let's talk about that in a moment. It's David, Milton, Matt, and Chris. Anthony Calvillo, by the way, 15 yards away from a CFL record 7th season with 5,000 yards passing. We'll talk about the Owls in a moment, but it's been a frustrating half for Kerry Joseph. He was hit by Kenny Ingram. Not a vicious hit, but for the 2nd day in a row, it's a hit on a quarterback that's left us kind of wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a segment on tsn.ca or CFL.ca, Ask the Ref. I want to ask the ref, what's going on? You know, because we've seen it 2 games in a row now, back-to-back games, and I'm trying to figure it out. Now, I think Kerry Joseph's got a beef here. Kenny Ingram goes high on him, ball's gone, and he clubs him over the head. That is an obvious call to me, and there's no flag. To me, it's very similar to what happened last night. Brandon Isaac on Darian Durant, that is helmet to helmet. He's got an opportunity to go from the shoulder pad to the hips. He doesn't. He chose to tackle him by the head. I want to know what's going on because we're supposed to be protecting the quarterbacks in this league, and it's not happening right now, guys.
Matty, Eskimo fans want to know what's going on. This is a game where the Eskimos can punch their ticket to the playoffs, and they're held to a rouge. Now, winning in Montreal is never easy, that's for sure, but in their recent 2-game win streak, they scored 72 points, close to 1,000 yards worth of offense. They do have issues with their roster, but what is their biggest issue offensively right now?
Yeah, and Dave, I'm glad he prefaced that by saying they have issues with the roster, because they do. But you can't use that as an excuse. When you're having this type of dismal output and you're running an attack, what's the problem? It's not Jerome Messam. Jerome Messam is not healthy. Plus, he's not the same back that Hugh Charles is. And Hugh Charles ignites this offense. I think everything is centered around him. He can run the ball between the tackles and certainly outside, and he can catch the football out of the backfield. When Hugh Charles is not in the lineup, you can concentrate on one guy. That is Fred Stamps. You eliminate him, you eliminate the Eskimo offense. I think that's where the problem lies. Hugh Charles is not in uniform.
9 yards rushing for the Eskimos in that first half, and they finish against Calgary next week at home, and they have lost all 3 games to Calgary so far this season. The Alouettes, Schultze, they've got issues with their roster, but they don't miss a beat. Their next home game would be November 18th in the East Final, and they are ramping up towards that, aren't they?
No problem. When you look at this football league right now, in the West you have the BC Lions in first place. In the East you have the Montreal Alouettes, and the reason is the depth. We talk about it constantly with BC. No G. Roy Simon, no Arlan Bruce, no problem. But how about this young man, Chris Jennings, 5'10", that's a 220-pound running back, and also similar abilities. Here is Noel Devine, a 5'8", 180-pound running back. Remember, this is a team that was absent of their 2 top running backs throughout this part of the football season, Victor Anderson and also Brandon Whitaker. For those 2 running backs to come in and to be that productive, it's why BC is in first place, their depth, and it's why Montreal is in first place in the East, their depth.
Another piece of that puzzle is Bo Bolin.
Yep.
You know, the second-year guy out of Oklahoma State, and he's taking advantage of his opportunities. You know, they have a great core, a receiver. It was hard for him to get on the roster, but the fact they have some injuries now, and he's taking full advantage of it. He had his first down catch last week, spectacular catch. You know, Anthony Cavill is going to put it to him, and this week he had a better catch. And this ball is not intended for him. This ball is intended for Brandon Bratton. But you're tired as a receiver when the ball's in the air. If it's in your air, you'll be aggressive and you go get it. That's what he's doing. He's hungry. He knows S.J. Green is coming back next week, and he doesn't want to be the guy who's taking off that roster.
You know who's loving this game right now? The Hamilton Tiger Cats, who could to stay alive for one more week. They got the big win yesterday to keep their playoff hopes alive. Edmonton has lost 4 in a row on the road. They're down by 18 in Montreal. Welcome back. While we have a little bit extra time here, let's talk about what we saw yesterday. 2 teams that needed wins for big playoff ramifications, and 2 teams that took care of business. The Hamilton Tiger Cats won in the last regular season home game at Ivor-Wynne Stadium, beating Winnipeg 28-18. Their playoff hopes are still alive, and Toronto went into Regina and got a 31-26 win. Toronto is now going to host a playoff game for the first time since 2007. Ricky Ray, in his last 2 games, Schultze, 4 touchdowns in each of those games.
688 yards. He's playing his best football right now, and it's remarkable to me because he is coming off that knee injury. Remember, this is a quarterback that missed 3 consecutive weeks of football, but he came back, and he has not missed a beat. If anything, that time off has helped in terms of everything he does from the quarterback position. Ricky Ray right now could be playing the best football as a quarterback in the entire Canadian Football League. Just some excellent passes, some excellent throws. He was a big reason they won, Matty.
Yeah, Schultze, over 140 quarterback efficiency rating over the last 2 weeks. Just lighten it up. And, you know, I've been hard on the Hamilton defense all football season. The defensive line of the Hamilton Tiger Cats yesterday stepped up to the game where we thought they'd be playing most of the football season. And when that happens, what happens is the back end, the secondary starts having 7. But it was Brandon Boudreau, I thought, that really collapsed the pocket along with Greg Peach being very active, making a difference in that football game. And that certainly helps out that potent offense that they have in Hamilton as well.
Yeah, and in Hamilton, their season hasn't gone as planned, but Henry Burris has had a great year. You look at what he's done. After last night's game, he was leading in touchdowns and yards. He's having a spectacular year. He's done his job. He's led his team in the right direction. So Henry Burris, I give a lot of credit. I know you're not going to blame your defense for the reason why you guys aren't playing well, because you've done a great job.
2 more touchdown passes for Hank, ties the career high 39, just one away from that magical number of 40. Only a handful of guys have ever done that. Here are the halftime stats from our game today. Milt.
Well, the Montreal Alouettes once again are doing what they always do, 285 yards. The Edmonton Eskimos need to come out and establish what they want to do. Pass the ball, run the ball. Jerome Messam is not healthy. Get him out of the game. Put Corey Boyd in, maybe.
Bo Bowling with that touchdown catch. He just spoke with John Liu.
Well, Bo, you have touchdowns in 2 consecutive games last week, the first of your career. Can you just describe the chemistry that you're building with Anthony Calvillo now?
It's something special, and we're just working every week, and it starts in practice, preparing during the week, and we're getting better and better. So it's something special, and we just want to keep it rolling.
You've been asked to step in the absence of Brandon London, S.J. Green. Who's been most in your ear trying to help you along as you've been given more responsibilities?
Oh, man, we got a great core group of leaders. We got Jamel Richardson as a leader, S.J. Green leading, and Brian Bratton. Them 3 right there have been here. They've done it. They know what to do, and they're helping me, bringing me along the way, and I can't thank them enough for that.
Thanks for this, Bo.
2 straight weeks now, he has caught a touchdown pass. 2 great catches as well for Bo Bowling. Alouettes in charge 19-1. Here's Corey Warren with a Sports Center update.
Dave, another jam-packed Sunday. We're going to have all the highlights coming up on Sports Center. 9 early games in the NFL that we are tracking today. We're going to begin in Philly. The Falcons and Eagles. Second quarter, Matt Ryan goes deep to Julio Jones. 63-yard touchdown strike. 3rd touchdown pass for Ryan. That made it 21-7. Falcons is now 24-10 as they play in the 3rd quarter. Redskins and Steelers second quarter. Ben Roethlisberger pump fakes and then finds Heath Miller. 7-yard touchdown pass. Steelers leading 20-9 in the 3rd. Panthers and Bears second quarter. Cam Newton fumbles on the goal line. Lewis Murphy recovers in the end zone. It's a touchdown for the Panthers. 13-7 in the 3rd quarter. Sports Center coming your way at 6 o'clock Eastern time. We'll have all your NFL highlights. And Detroit trying to avoid being swept in the World Series. We'll preview Game 4, the second half, coming up after this.
Welcome back to Montreal on the road to the 100th Grey Cup, and a matchup between Grey Cup rivals from the 50s and the 70s. And in 2012, the Alouettes with a 19-1 edge as we join John Liu with Kavis Reed.
Kavis, let's leave the Chip Cox interception out of the end of your final drive. Up until that point, the hurry-up offense was moving the ball. Might we see more of that in the second half?
Yeah, we did a good job with the tempo. We kept them off balance defensively. We got an understanding of what they were trying to do pressure-wise, but our penalties killed it and stalled it for us.
Might we see Corey Boyd getting some reps in this half?
But we need to see Corey as well. We need to be committed again to the run game. The game is not yet out of hand. We need to get time of possession back on our side.
Just very quickly, injury updates on Orrin Thompson and Matthew Bertrand.
Matty is definitely out. We're still working on Orrin, but we won't have Matty available to us in the second half.
Thank you for this, Kavis.
And in that first half, J.C. Sherritt had 2 tackles, 117 on the season. That matches the Edmonton Eskimo club record, co-held with Willie Pless. So our possible record-setting performance in the second half as he closes in on the CFL record of Calvin Tiggle from 1994 of
129. 27 tackle lead ahead of Adam Bighill of the BC Lions coming into this game this afternoon.
Acknowledging that records are not the priority for the Edmonton Eskimos at this stage. Here's Gary Koch on the return, and he gets drilled around the 30-yard line.
Well, the good news for Edmonton is they get the ball back right out of the gate here to start this second half and try and grab some momentum. We heard Kavis Reed say that he will put Corey Boyd into the lineup a little bit as you see him walk to the huddle. Here's what happened in the first half. Just 71 yards passing for Kerry Joseph. A couple to Marcus Henry for 28 yards and Jerome Messam. And I agree with Matt Dunnigan, and I've said it a couple times watching this Edmonton team with Messam. He's just not the back he was a year ago at this point due to injury. So here's Corey Boyd's turn.
Released by the Eskimos, brought back 10 days later. And away into his hands, and Boyd across the 35 up to the 37-yard line. Scooter Berry on the tackle for the Alouettes. Corey Boyd was the leading rusher in the league when released by the Argonauts, now 10th in the league, and now lining up as a wideout. We did hear that he'd be part of the receiving game for the Eskimos in this game. 2nd and 5. And Joseph over the middle, and the pass is dropped. Marcus Henry can't hang on. There's Kyrus Hebert back in the lineup for the Alouettes. A 2-and-out to start this second half for Edmonton.
Edmonton got what they wanted across the middle, which was some confusion in coverage, causing Kyrus Hebert just to hesitate before closing on this. But maybe a little bit of a physical presence from Hebert early in this game influenced that one for Marcus Henry. Should have had it.
John Bowman dropping back in coverage from his defensive end spot. Trent Guy brings that one down around the 18-yard line. Delroy Clark slows him up. But Guy over the 25 up to the 28-yard line. Like Miller, Donovan Alexander on the tackle.
Anthony Calvillo continues to play this game from start to finish. In the second half, he will have another 400-yard passing game, which will be on this pace, which will be his 30th of his career. Now Richardson, 44 yards. Chris?
Excuse me, Calvillo, 15 from 5,000. You see the next catch for Richardson will give him his 5th 1,000-yard season in all likelihood. And Eric Delorier with a couple of catches and a big one that was called back. Taking a touchdown off the board. Kai Stewart in on the defensive set, and Jennings hurdle, get outside. Flag comes down as Sewell rides Jennings out.
See what Kai Stewart did to a pulling Scott Flory right at the point of attack. Jennings had to get around this creating of the pile by Kyle Stewart, the linebacker for the Edmonton Eskimos.
This one going against Montreal.
Montreal, number 64. Down.
Ryan Bombin is the tight end on this formation. He gets called right here in front of your screen. Look at, it might have been actually Jeff Parrott who got the number wrong. It looked like Bombin was on the down block from the tight end spot.
Bombin in at a tight end spot on that first play. He goes to the sidelines. And the Alouettes will go 1st and 20. Into the hands of Devine, who had a good first half, and Noel Devine up across the 25-yard line and back towards the original line of scrimmage. Third catch of the game for Devine and a pickup of 12.
Just go back to that play before. I want to show you Kai Stewart just sacrificing himself on a pulling Scott Flory here that wants to come out and block him. Number 46 will step up here. And as he does, he just creates a pile right there and causes Chris Jennings to jump over top of him.
2nd and 8. Calvillo stands in, throws, and it should have been intercepted. In and out of the hands of Chris Thompson, who had a shot at his 6th of the year, and that would have given him the share of the lead with teammate Joe Burnett in that department.
Anthony Calvillo threw this football before he wanted to because of this pressure from J.C. Sherritt. Has 2 sacks on the season. Delayed for a second to let it open up and comes through. Anthony Calvillo saw him coming right in his sight lines, took his eyes off the receiver and looked at the pass rush, and that almost got him in trouble. Thompson should have had that one.
Let him go.
John White, good boot against the wind. And here's Burnett dancing, and Daryl Townsend, one of the league leaders in special team tackles, has another after that 48-yard punt. CFL on TSN, brought to you by Rona, proud partner of the Canadian Football League. And it's 8 teams. Early third quarter here in Montreal. And the Eskimos following a familiar script here at Percival Molson. Gary Joseph trying to change it. John Bowman standing up, and he'll rush. Joseph going the far side. Emery couldn't reach him. And Gary Joseph to the 40 has close to 5.
This defense is really starting to come together for Jeff Reinbold. Montreal Alouettes, they ranked second against the run. And the last time they played the Edmonton Eskimos, they shut them down. In fact, it was the worst output up until this game this afternoon for Edmonton running the football. Had just 54 yards rushing. And that's the key, because if you can do that, you often will win first down defensively. And Reinbold's defense, it took a while for this team to learn it. But it's coming on strong down the stretch here.
Number 2 against the run, and they've held the Eskimos 6 carries, 19 yards so far, and that pass incomplete. Looking for Henry on the crosser. Another 2 and out, and that's the 5th of the game for the Eskimos.
Kyrie Saber and Shea Emery are right here in the middle of the sight line for Gary Joseph, and they're basically saying, I'll race you. I'm going to race you to the quarterback, and let's get there. Kenny Ingram ends up coming in the race as well. Look at Kyrie Saber up over the top, just causing Gary Joseph to be uncomfortable in that pocket.
Grant Shaw kicking to Trent Guy. Pressure on, and Shaw booms one. And that will sail over the head, and Guy's got to field it inside the 5. And he'll be brought down at the 7-yard line. That's a 64-yard boot by Shaw. Well, this caused a stir yesterday, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. There is your Grey Cup halftime entertainment for the 100th Grey Cup on November 25th in Toronto. Justin Bieber, Carly Rae Jepsen, Mariana's Trench, little Gordy Lightfoot from Toronto, all Canadian acts, Johnny Reed from Brampton, Ontario, Burton Cummings, of course, well known from Winnipeg. And yes, it was quite an interesting reaction on the Twitter world and social media. But, you know, here's the thing. Music is very personal, and your preference in music is obviously very personal. And there's some people that, you know, aren't fans of some of the music up there. But I think the league got it right here, because, you know what, they're covering all demographics. Or it's a little bit of something for everybody there. And, you know, you may not, whether you like Justin Bieber's music or not, that's one of the biggest act, if not the biggest act on the planet, Canadian act right now. So, and it's a crossover of a lot of different demographics and a lot of different angles.
My take is that if you canvass 16-year-olds and younger across the country about the Grey Cup, on Monday or Tuesday of this week, a lot more will know a lot more about the Grey Cup than they did last week.
I agree. I think you're going to see a huge spike like we did when Shania Twain played in the Grey Cup in Edmonton, that Montreal was in that game. And they since then have called it really the Shania Twain factor.
Procedure. Montreal, number 59. That's a half distance to the goal. Remains second down.
Josh Burke, who is not probably a big Justin Bieber fan.
Well, you know, there's some football guys that aren't going to change what they love, like rock and roll or heavy metal or whatever it might be, to switch to Justin Bieber. But you know what? You're going to see a spike at halftime. You're going to see a whole lot of people in cross-section that maybe not watch a football game all year long, or are football fans at all, that will tune in to see what's going on at halftime of the Grey Cup, because it crosses over that demographic. I think they got it right.
2nd and 15 from his end zone. A lot of time to look downfield for Richardson, and playing center field. Donovan Alexander brings it down, and Alexander scoots down the sidelines, and Jordan takes him out heavily, and a flag will be tacked onto that. But that's a big play for the Eskimos to maybe get them going in the second half.
Well, they needed something. They needed some sort of spark. Maybe Donovan Alexander is a Justin Bieber fan, and he turns and makes this play. It's almost like he's playing baseball center field, because he has to track it down, run underneath it, well overthrown for Jamel Richardson.
Major foul, Montreal. Be half the distance to the goal. First down.
So the late hit after the 4th interception of the year for Alexander. Another pick for the Eskimos, giving them a elite lead 27, and that's the 12th time this year they've had at least 2 interceptions in a game. Sets them up, 1st and goal.
Now they got to capitalize.
Boyd in the backfield. And the fake to Boyd. Joseph holds on, and he'll be dropped at the 6. Ball popped loose, but play had been halted.
Take a look, see if he's down. Chip Cox turns him in. John Bowman down by contact before the ball comes out. Correct call.
So 2nd and goal at the 6. 4 receivers come to this near side. And Joseph looking that way, pulls it down, drops it off, and Boyd can't reach it. Incomplete.
John Bowman, Chris, off the edge, was relentless. He just didn't quit on it because Kerry Joseph initially had time to throw, but he doesn't let it go initially, and Bowman keeps working, and finally gets there. Pushed outside and wide, but when Kerry Joseph is flushed to the backside of the formation, Bowman gets him from behind. And that crowd kind of turned up the volume for the first time here this afternoon, that defensive stand.
I think they're saving it for the Eastern Final at Olympic Stadium. Shaw from 13 yards out, he puts it through. Eskimos not considering a 3rd down gamble this early, midway through the 3rd quarter. While the Eskimos trying to devise a way of winning here in Montreal with more, here's John Liu.
Thank you, Chris. And it's extremely rare for the Edmonton Eskimos to be playing a 1 o'clock game in the Eastern time zone, meaning that their body clocks say it's 11 a.m. at basically a kickoff time. And they took a couple of tactics, especially last night. Their normal curfew on the road is 11 p.m., but the coaching staff moved it back to 10:30 p.m. So guys were essentially in bed at 9 p.m. their time. And this morning, their breakfast buffet was at 8 a.m., but 6 a.m. according to their body clocks. So the skill players apparently took the tack of not eating as much. They went continental instead of American buffet, but the offensive and defensive linemen certainly weren't shy at the buffet table. They were mowing down as usual. Guys?
Looks like some of them could have used an extra coffee this morning, though. It has been a sluggish start.
Well, depending on what happens, they may be a crossover team, and we'll have to get that figured out.
But they also may be a team on the outside looking in.
That's right.
Still haven't claimed a spot here. Ticats cheering for the Alouettes today out of the backfield. Jennings a lot of room. Chris Jennings across midfield. And that takes Anthony Calvillo over 5,000 yards for the 7th time in his 19-year career.
Boy, just outstanding play calling and executed by one of the best all-time, if not the best all-time in Calvillo. Perfect timing to run the back out of the backfield with full blitz coming from the linebacking core. No one to cover down on Chris Jennings. He's wide open, and it's just a matter of AC getting it out of his hand before the blitz arrived.
Boy, Victor Anderson was impressive when he replaced Brandon Whitaker, who's as good as anybody in the league. But Chris Jennings looks like the real deal, too, doesn't he? There's Sherritt. And that should be J.C. Sherritt's tackle and an Edmonton Eskimo record, number 118 in a terrific season for the 2nd-year middle linebacker of the Eskimos.
Steps up in the hole, scrapes nicely to the point of attack and steps into that tackle. That will be his tackle, and that should be an Edmonton record.
Willie Pless, a 5-time winner of Defensive Player of the Year, including 4 consecutive. There's a pass for Lavoie. He's got it, and Patrick Lavoie should have a Montreal first down. T.J. Hill, the tackle.
And it's not just the tackles, it's the entire campaign that in a tough season for the Edmonton Eskimos that have had some challenges. He's certainly done his part. Consider his 5 interceptions. His interception totals He's just one behind the league leader, which is his teammate Joe Burnett, and would be leading a few teams in the league.
Has interceptions in the last 2 games. He has 1 off Calvillo this year. The Alouettes are driving, though. Out of the pocket and the crosser to Bowling, and Sherritt's going to get another tackle as he hauls down Bowling. So Willie Pless has been caught, and now looking for Calvin Tiggle's CFL record.
That's a good read by Bo Bowling to run past him, though, to just to get himself open. He doesn't sit in that curl because that's where J.C. Sherritt had dropped to. He looks like he's got a bit of a hip. He was up limping there trying to get kind of regroup after that tackle on Bowling.
And he's had a knee problem the last few weeks that has slowed his assault on the records. Within 10 of Tiggle. Jennings on second down, trying to get outside, nothing there. And lunging across the 30. He'll be at least 3 yards short. And the field goal team will come on.
Sherritt's going to want to keep his interception streak alive, maybe tie his teammate if he can get one here this afternoon before this game's out. That would be 3 straight games for him and 6 on the season. We just talked about his tackles, and it's a team that's given up a lot of rush yards of late. In fact, they've dropped to 8th in the league, giving up over 120 yards a game. He's done his part.
From 36 yards out, Sean White, and he's missed it. Joe Burnett puts down a knee. It's a 20-4 Montreal lead. Our nation's road hazards are back, this time tackling urban driving. Watch out for the season premiere of Canada's Worst Driver tomorrow at 10 Eastern, only on Discovery. And as a former Montrealer, few candidates here, I think.
I cab it in this city. I cab it in Montreal.
You could get a white knuckle ride in this town. 20-4, a missed opportunity for the Alouettes to expand the lead.
You know, the Edmonton Eskimos just keep hanging around here. You know, if they could catch fire a little bit offensively and maybe move the pocket a little bit for Kerry Joseph, try and get him outside and away from that pressure, especially on second down when the Alouettes are sending the linebackers or Kyrus Seber, the safety. Maybe make a couple big plays down the field.
Kerry Joseph making his first start against Montreal since 2009. Back in, heat on from John Bowman, and down goes Joseph.
He went to school there, and he think that Kerry Joseph like a face mask. We'll take a look at that again. John Bowman, he's working down low here. They try to go with a tight end set, putting Darcy Brown, the fullback, at tight end. He just could not handle number 7. Was there a face mask in there? It looked like he may have got a piece of it.
John Bowman has sacks in 3 consecutive games, 61 in his career. Chip Cox showing blitz and now pulls back, more pressure, and Joseph is dropped. Looked like they're going to call offside on Montreal, though, as Cox may have encroached that 1-yard restraining area. Greg Voigt a little slow to get up, the right guard.
Offside. Montreal, number 11. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Chip Cox tried to time his blitz. Lots of activity and movement up front, and this is part of it. He tries to time his blitz here just a little bit ahead of the snap count. It's actually not even blitzing. He ended up dropping out, but got into the neutral zone.
Eskimos are 2 for 11 and converting on second down, and this is a tough one. 2nd and 18 over the middle, and the catch is made. Glenn McKay has the grab. And a 20-yard gain to move the chains.
Well, one of the few times that Montreal just is going to run a basic zone blitz or zone drops with four-man pressure and big opening down the middle so that Kerry Joseph can finally throw one and step into it in stride.
So it gives the Eskimos a first down at their 47. Under 2 to go here in the third quarter. Pressure coming from Montreal. Joseph gets it away, and Stamps has the catch at the Alouette 54-yard line, just short of the first down. Shea Emery turned up the heat, but Joseph makes a connection.
Kyrisse Bear and Shea Emery are both going to blitz, and it's just a matter of which one gets there. Jeff Reinbold basically saying that one where they drop zone didn't look too good for him, so he wants to go back to the pressure. Now Kerry Joseph gets it out just before pressure gets there.
So Joseph finally hits the 100-yard passing mark in the game. Second short yardage. And he moves to the left side to get the first down. About a month ago, Kavis Reed took over the offensive coordinator responsibilities, and it paid quick dividends. The first 2 games, over 400 yards of offense, but the last 2.5 games, things have bogged down again. This, a promising start to a drive in the late stages of this third quarter with Messam back in at the tailback spot.
Here they come.
Pressure on, and a big hit delivered by Mike Lockley. And the ball loose, and this is going to be a touchdown for Chip Cox. Everybody had stopped, but the whistle did not sound. It is an Alouette touchdown.
Every touchdown reviewed, so they'll take a look. Back to the snap, but total pressure coming up front. The Montreal Alouettes send the house. And Kerry Joseph's going to get hit by Lockley from behind. Doesn't see it coming from the top of your screen. And did the ball come out before he was down?
It appeared to come out very late.
They're holding off the extra point here while they review this play and this touchdown. Every scoring play reviewed. Kavis Reed ready to challenge.
The previous play is under review.
Kavis Reed throws the challenge flag, but again, a scoring play should not necessitate a challenge from the bench.
No, I think that's just to make sure that they are. It's just to, well, let's take a look again. Okay, that's a fumble. There's no question that's a fumble. But he regained possession and then down by contact while lying on the ground.
Yeah, it looked like he regained the ball.
The ball fumbled out there. Loose ball now. He grabs it. Does he have control there, though, Chris, is the question when he's touched.
Ripped out of there by Scooter Berry. But back into his hands there.
Now, if he's being touched right now, it looks like he has possession right there, which would mean that would be a sack, and he's down there.
And Barry is the player who lands on him and pulls it away.
Yeah, I think he is. Okay, right there, Kerry Joseph has the ball. And you can see that right there, is that not an Alouette's hand on the shoulder pad and arm of Joseph? And then it's pulled out there.
After review, after the fumble, the Edmonton quarterback recovered the ball and was in possession while down by contact. The ball will be placed at the 49-yard line. It'll be second down, Edmonton.
Would have been the first defensive touchdown of the year for the Alouettes, but
correct call.
The right call is made on further review.
That's 2 touchdowns, though, that have been overturned.
And so the Eskimos stay
hanging
in
around.
the game.
Yeah, hanging around.
Get another chance on offense, albeit with a 2nd and 20. Jeff Reinhold turning up the heat. 6-receiver package. Chambers inside, and he's going to stay in to help block. Joseph over the middle, and there's McKay again. And he'll lunge down to the 45, but be 5 yards short. That's the final play of the 3rd quarter, with the Alouettes in the lead. Well, it feels like the Alouettes have dominated by a bigger margin, but the Eskimos with the football and down by 16 as we head to the 4th quarter.
Yeah, starting to move the football a little bit, and like we said, they've been hanging around in this game. You can see an obvious advantage at time of possession, and the Edmonton Eskimos just cannot run the football, so it's almost like they've stopped trying. But interesting decision right now as they're starting to make on this 3rd down, whether or not they should gamble this early in the start the 4th quarter.
Well, it's 3rd and 4. They're at the Montreal 45-yard line. You're down by 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point converts. Do they try and pin? I guess they do not. They will keep the offense on the field here to go for it.
Yeah, I think you punt here. I just pin them deep, try and get it out of bounds, angle it out. Although when Anthony Calvillo is moving the ball the way he has this afternoon, you want to keep it out of his hands. I understand that.
And a quarterback draw. Is it going to work? He's going to come down short. Short of the 1st down. A turnover on downs. Like a little stumble there off the right side for a guy that has made that quarterback draw work so many times in the past, but not this time.
Well, and when he looks at the pre-snap read and sees a couple of voids right here in the defense with Shea Emery outside like that, he probably thinks, you know what, I've got one, a little bit of an alley there, but Emery goes and fills in that hole right over the middle. A little stumble from Kerry Joseph, and 3rd down gamble doesn't work.
So the Alouettes take over at their own 43-yard line. Pressure on AC, gets it away underneath to Jennings. And Jennings is upended up at the 49-yard line.
It's been a very good football team when they're leading after 3 quarters, and Mark Trestman is 50-5 as the Montreal head coach when he takes the lead into the 4th. Tough to not only win here, but tough to come back and win here. And when you consider Mark Trestman's home record since taking over in 2008, just absolutely off the hook great.
And a win today will move him into a tie for the most wins by a head coach in Alouette history. Jennings up for grabs, and that was almost picked off. Joe Burnett in the area as it clanged off the fingertips of the running back Jennings.
Well, if Mark Trestman can win the next 2 games, this one and the final game of the regular season, he'll become the winningest coach in Alouettes history in just 5 years. Tied with Don Matthews. And just incredible at home.
Burnett awaits as Sean White comes on to punt. 3rd 2 and out of the game for the Alouettes.
Let go.
Burnett trying to get outside. And Kyrus Hebert down there to make another special team tackle. The leader in that department, 24, coming into the game.
Let's take a good look at the leading tackler on special teams in the Canadian Football League, because, folks, this is just all about wanting to be there. First guy on the ball, get out of my way, Chris Thompson. This is Kyrus Hebert getting to the football for any of his teammates. Gotta love that. And is starting free safety every down this season.
Here's a handoff to Messam, right side, and the Diesel finally gets some positive yards. Knocked down by Shea Emery up at the 40-yard line. Best gain of the year for Jerome Messam. Jeff Reinbold took over this defense, and it has been a work in progress, but boy, they make the right adjustments at halftime. In the third quarter now, gave up a field goal in this game. They have not allowed a third quarter touchdown since week 3. 13 of the last 14 games, 6 points or under in the third quarter. Joseph under pressure again and dropped. Chima Ihekwoba bringing him down.
Well, that run by Jerome Messam to start this drive was very important. 16-yard rush when you consider after 3 quarters, the Edmonton Eskimos had a combined 26-yard rushing. That 16. Maybe they found a crease somewhere in this defense.
Top Canadian last year with over 1,000 yards rushing. Flag, and the play is stopped.
Before that run, Chris, I was looking back, and that defense, Jeff Reinbold's group, in the last 2 games had allowed just 98 yards rushing.
Procedure. Edmonton, number 64. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
When you add the 26 from the 3 quarters, that's 11 quarters of football where they had allowed just 124 yards rushing total, which is why their defense is coming on so strong, not giving up points, winning those first downs. Now that 16-yarder maybe found a little chink in the armor here.
O'Donnell drawing another flag in replacing the injured Oren Thompson. And look out, too much heat.
Yeah.
And Gary Joseph eats it back at the 30-yard line. Safety blitz from Kyrus Hebert.
You know, it must be frustrating for Kerry Joseph because he sees the middle. I mean, look at this space. He sees it. Now, does 1, he have a receiver getting there, and 2, can he get the football there in time? And you could see that it just collapses. Kyrus Hebert again, after we showed you the special teams effort, he comes off the edge, and that's the first guy that Kerry Joseph sees when he ducks for cover.
Grant Shaw, line drive boot, and on a hop. Trent Guy surging up to the 49-yard line. Alouettes with the lead and the football when we come back. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by GMC Sierra. We are professional grade.
Kerry Joseph's getting some attention to his passing hand. He already has a pinky issue on that hand. And now it looks like they're doing some repairs on one of his fingers. Matt Nichols was warming up on the bench.
There's Chris Jennings straight ahead and over midfield to the Edmonton 54. The Eskimos don't have to be reminded of how good Mark Trestman's team is at home. And here is some graphic evidence.
Off the hook good. I mean, 6-2 this season, but you look at the overall record since '98. 17 straight seasons with a winning record is a CFL record. And if he hangs on and wins at 36-9 in this game this afternoon, he's now at around 80%. And that's dominance.
Would be the 100th win for the Alouettes in the regular season back here at Percival Molson. That ball thrown away.
But still some work to do. And again, you know, this Edmonton team keeps hanging around here, and all it takes is 1 touchdown to just grab some momentum.
Now, the Alouettes offense looks so efficient in the first couple of series, but they bogged down.
And I've talked to defensive coaches playing against Mark Trestman coach teams and this offense, and they say if you can have success early in the first 2 or 3 series, you're in a dogfight all the way with Montreal because they're such quick starters.
Just a pair of first downs in the second half for the Alouettes against Mark Nelson's defense. And here's Burnett, and look at Townsend downfield in a hurry. Townsend and Hebert dueling for the league lead in special team tackles. Closed captioning brought to you by Gibson's 100th Grey Cup commemorative whiskey. Available now in limited supply at local liquor stores. New quarterback for the Eskimos here with just under 10 minutes to go, fourth quarter. Matt Nichols in relief of Kerry Joseph. One start for Nichols this year. Let's see how he deals with the pressure going downfield. He's got Stamps. Fred Stamps behind coverage, and it's a foot race. And Stamps angling to the end zone. It's a touchdown. How about that? Stamps outruns Chip Cox, and Matt Nichols with a 95-yard touchdown pass on his first play of the game.
Wow. Matt Nichols moves the pocket, steps in, only had about a minute and a half there during commercial to warm up his arm, and watch how he buys some time. He got himself outside of the pressure because two Alouettes fall down, hit each other in the middle. He gets outside of it, and then Fred Stamps springs in behind Chip Cox, and he launches one right in stride, number 2, angles to the end zone, and just like that, the Edmonton Eskimos back in this.
It's the longest pass play for the Eskimos this year.
Second touchdown pass for Matt Nichols on the season. Had one in his only start against Calgary.
Fred Stamps pay dirt for the 7th time, and they go for 2, but they don't get the play away in time.
Timeout's been called by Montreal.
Alouettes will stop things up to get set.
Matt Nichols, and you know there's a whole bunch of Edmonton Eskimo fans going, maybe they should have made this change earlier. Fred Stamps trying to get a little bit of water after that long run.
Just his second 100-yard game of the year. Of course, the other was the 204-yard day against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And the Ticats just got a little uneasy in their chairs.
Just like that. You hang around. You wanna, on the road, you want to hang around. Stay close and make a run in the 4th.
Going for 2. And they got it. Marcus Henry, and just like that, Matt Nichols goes 2 for 2. And they get within 8.
Well, and my guess with the repairs to the hand of Kerry Joseph done now, I'm not sure they make any changes right now. They go to the hot hand and leave Matt Nichols out there. Kerry Joseph taking his hat off.
That touchdown pass matches the longest play from scrimmage in the league this year. Henry Burris and Siobhan Walker teamed up on a 95-yarder early in the year against BC in week number 2.
Well, Fred Stamps has got to cross all the way over through here, and in order to do that, Matt Nichols, to get him the football on the other side, Matt Nichols got to buy time. Now he catches a bit of a break because the blitz, 2 Montreal Alouettes collide. It was Luke Mullender and Kyrus Hebert up the middle, and that allowed Matt Nichols to buy himself some more time as he moved outside of that pocket. That blitz comes through screen. He might not have got there. Watch Mullender and Kyrus Hebert come through the middle here on this play. Go ahead and run it, guys. Here comes Kyrus Hebert, and boom, it gets tripped up right there. That's how Matt Nichols buys some time. Fred Stamps, so there he is.
Now the kickoff, fielded by Guy just inside the 10. And he will not reach the 30, but that's kind of what we mean by hanging around. And yeah, the Eskimos didn't give you any sense they were going to mount a comeback here today, but the defense kept Montreal at bay in one play, and now you're within a score and a 2-point convert of a tie game.
Now this becomes all of a sudden kind of an offense for Montreal that was put in kind of neutral. Let's take a look at the 2-point convert. Quick slant under the pick from Marcus Henry. Pretty easy throw and catch.
Well, let's see how Calvillo answers that. He's going to go deep. Wants Richardson, and off his fingertips. Looked like he had inside position on Chris Thompson. but incomplete.
TJ Hill got people lined up properly, or else this Edmonton team was in trouble here. Watch TJ Hill, number 12. He sees that there's a problem with the formation. He goes, wait a minute, I got to get the defensive, I got to get Weldon Brown on the other side. Then he gets back in coverage, and everyone covered down, including Chris Thompson, who knocks that one down on Jamel Richardson. But that's good leadership from TJ Hill to recognize that they didn't have the guys covered down.
Delroy Clark has come out on the corner for the Eskimos. Joe Burnett not in right now. 2nd and 10. They drop it off to the fullback, and Lavoie is cut down. He'll be short of the first down. There's TJ Hill to make the play once again, and there is a momentum shift in this game here midway through the fourth quarter.
Absolutely, and TJ Hill has saved the day here, because if Calvillo has a wide open man, it wouldn't have been Jamel Richardson, it would have been the inside receiver. TJ Hill got his teammate Weldon Brown on first down on the right side to cover down on him, then makes the tackle on 2nd down, and just like that, Matt Nichols gets the ball back.
Well, there's Joe Burnett. So
don't go anywhere yet.
He's back to take this punt after Delroy Clark was out on the corner for the last play. Big boot by Sean White, and Burnett had to do well to bring that one down around the 15, and now he's got to return up to the 30-yard line. 61-yard punt by White. 9 on the return. TSN, home of NFL Sunday Night Football. Tonight, our Week 8 matchup sees Drew Brees and the Saints in Denver to take on Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Live coverage gets underway tonight at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN and TSN Radio.
One of my favorite safeties growing up, watching National Football League along with the CFL, was Steve Atwater, the Denver Broncos, up on their wall. Had fun watching Kyrus Bear in this game.
Nichols hands off to Messam. Not much straight ahead for Jerome Messam.
Well, this has been the 2nd and long pressure package for Montreal. So how Matt Nichols got a little bit of a break when they tripped up in that middle on the last blitz to Stamps. He's got to recognize this one. And is it Fred Stamps again in the short side of the field?
Buzz in the building. 2nd and long. Flag comes down. Nichols looks deep, and he's got him in. Shamad Chambers with a catch on the go route, but let's find out what that flag was all about. And they're waving the Eskimos back.
Oh boy, this could.
Offside, Edmonton, number 84. 5-yard penalty, main 2nd down.
That could be the last broken straw right there.
Gary Koch ahead of the snap of the football.
Dwight Anderson. Yeah, he was definitely in the neutral zone, and Dwight Anderson had jumped Fred Stamps and left his man Shamad Chambers down the sideline wide open, and it came back to that penalty.
Oh, it's 2nd down and 14. Takes a big play off the board. Nichols stands in, throws, and this one is in the hands of Dwight Anderson. The interception by Anderson in Edmonton territory dropped at the Eskimo 44-yard line.
Oh boy, the little things, and the little things that add up. The Edmonton Eskimos have a huge play, and all the momentum down the sideline went Dwight Anderson. Bus, let's go back to that one more time and show you what they were looking at. Dwight Anderson comes out of his coverage on Shamad Chambers on the outside. They double on Fred Stamps here. He thought he was going to throw to Stamps, so he gambled, and the gamble cost him this big play. Kerry Koch is offside. The Edmonton Eskimos come back in the play now. Matt Nichols tries to go back to that short side. This time, Dwight Anderson stays back. He won't make the same mistake again, folks, and he's right there to pick this off. Just like that, it changes.
2nd interception of the year for Anderson. It's been a long wait. His first was the opening game in Calgary. And off to Jennings. Gonna hot-foot it outside, gets to the corner, and turns it up. Chris Thompson helps him out after a first down run to the Edmonton 28-yard line.
Yeah, and all of a sudden that jump that we saw in the last 2 and out that the Edmonton defense generated after the Fred Stamps touchdown. Now, again, they don't have that same jump. J.C. Sherritt tried to shoot the gap and just missed.
3 consecutive 2 and outs for Montreal until that 16-yard run by Jennings. And Chris Jennings now with 80 yards in the game on 13 carries. 60 yards last week. He had 86 in a relief role against the Argos in Toronto. 3 carries over 15 yards and back in his hands again. And he'll be taken down around the 25-yard line. Brandon Lang in on the tackle. The Alouettes in field goal position, trying to extend the lead beyond the 1 touchdown and 1 2-point convert.
Big down for the Edmonton defense here. This is usually when J.C. Sherritt will step up. They got to get a push in the interior and then have free up Sherritt to scrape and drop back if he has to underneath. First down attempt.
Al's just 2 for 8 in second down conversions in the second half.
Boy, they're Edmonton lucky that one's blown dead because Jamel Richardson was open.
Montreal number 13, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Boy, they caught a break there. Jamel Richardson was uncovered.
Richardson did not play the first game of the season against the Eskimos. Has had 3 catches in this game. Streak of 100-yard games in jeopardy. A crosser, Bowling wide open. Bowling down to the 5 and just dropped at the 4. Bowling's got it going again. After the interception by Anderson, the Alouette offense has been recharged.
Watch the read from Anthony Calvillo. He's keying here on J.C. Sherritt, who's going to take off and cover Chris Jennings out of the backfield, opening up the middle for Bo Bowling. As soon as that linebacker vacates, AC knows he's got the crosser to Bowling wide open outside for the first down.
And Munoz just got a piece of him to bring him down at the 4-yard line. Checked at the 5, first and goal. AC, end zone, touchdown! Ryan Bombin!
His 5th catch. And he had to work for this one.
Sign that guy up as a receiver. What a catch.
Look at the big boys over there going, way to represent, man. Way to show it that those skilled guys, you know, it's not that tough. Oh, what a dagger for the Edmonton Eskimos. But when you think about why, Bombin, this is a contested catch. He has to fight off coverage. And it's J.C. Sherritt that was back there with him. He gives him a little subtle push to get a little separation. If you can separate from Brian Bombin at 3:05.
And he now has a receiving streak of 4 consecutive games. Ryan Bombin has his first career Canadian Football League touchdown.
And just like that, I mean, that turn of events for Edmonton, the deep play to Shamar Chambers turned around. That was running time inside of 1 minute. That they have a big play in Montreal territory. And just like that, the Alouettes turn it around, get the interception and the touchdown.
Wow. 64 doing an impersonation of number 74, Peter Delariva, the old tight end. And he's the talk of that dressing room.
Yeah, Jarrell Richardson over there congratulating him. Nice job. Had to work for that catch. Wasn't like you were wide open, just waiting for it to come in.
That wasn't just a touchdown. That was a highlight reel catch, too.
Hey, that's going to cost you right there. That's going to use the honey. You can double cover, climb the ladder. Over the top of him.
All the guys with admiration for the athleticism of the play. Weldon Brown back, and the Eskimos back by 15. Running out of time here. Weldon Brown with a return. And he's still going up across midfield. And Weldon Brown all the way down to the Alouette 40. So still some life in the Eskimos.
Let's show you a touchdown one more time. Brian Bauman, the tight end, to the left side of the formation here. A little confusion for the Edmonton Eskimos as J.C. Sherrod here doesn't look like he's really sure they're going to switch. He's trying to get the coverage set up and then finally tries to bail and then chase Bauman, who fights him off to get that touchdown. But this return, a little bit of life left in these Eskimos.
Edmonton a first down, Montreal 41. Last play before the 3-minute warning. Nichols takes a shot for Henry. Marcus Henry inside the 20. And the Eskimos, a little offensive momentum as we hit the 3-minute warning.
Well, the Edmonton Eskimos aren't going out without a fight. After the Bauman touchdown, they get a nice return from Weldon Brown, set up good field position for really a red-hot Matt Nichols, who hits one down the seam to get the Eskimos on the doorstep with time remaining. We punch it in here. May not even have to try the onside kick just yet.
First down, Nichols, short drop, pulls it down, takes off, and gets by Emery, and down to about the 6-yard line.
In order to give Kavis Reed that option, they get score quickly.
Chip Cox a little slow to get up, but he's going to stay on the field.
Nichols will call the play on the line of scrimmage. Everyone lined up, just gave the instructions to Fred Stamps.
12-yard gain by Nichols, first and goal. Matt Nichols has outpassed Joseph in the game now in 2 series into the end zone, and Coke can't make the catch. Just a reminder to MLS fans, Toronto Columbus, that game coming up next following the conclusion here in Montreal. Second and goal. Eskimos trying to give us a big finish. Two backs into the end zone, and this one over the head of Stamps, who was in double coverage.
Yeah, I think Matt Nichols might just tried to reload for one more chance, because he was bracketed in there. And there's no way he could get the football in there. Fred Stamps, take a look. I mean, unless he just puts his Superman cape on here.
Edmonton.
He threw that away.
So the Eskimos will take the timeout to get the right play here.
Score here though, Chris. Sorry, if you score here though, go for one. Keep it a one-possession game. And then now at 2:12, you're looking at probably onside kick attempt.
I was going to suggest you might not even need the onside, or do you give Anthony Calvillo a chance to work with the football?
It depends on how many seconds. That's why I know Kavis Reed was looking at the clock throughout that entire last play, and he just, because it's right in that bubble area where he could almost kick it deep, try and get the quick 2-and-out, get the ball back with about 1:10 somewhere in there left. One more chance, but he wants to go for one if they score here.
Matt Nichols has made a lot happen in a very short time, hasn't he? But he's got to make something happen right now. 6 receivers out. Quick hitter. Chambers. Touchdown. Shamad Chambers gets into the end zone. Second touchdown of the year for the rookie, who seems to be getting better by the week.
Now they go for one, which is exactly what Kavis Reed will do. 2:07. There's time to kick it deep. Try and get the 2 and out from your defense. Get the ball back with over a minute, which is lots of time to move it down the field. And Matt Nichols is white hot just like that.
So Shaw, the extra point. And we're in for a good finish.
Obviously, they need the 2-point convert as well. If they can score one more time.
You can have a couple of touchdown passes for Matt Nichols here in this fourth quarter. A game story brought to you by Mr. Lube. Get top to bottom maintenance and take good care.
Edmonton Eskimos just could not get the running game going, but Matt Nichols came in when Kerry Joseph was getting repairs to his passing hand and hit Fred Stamps in his first pass for a long touchdown. Just like that, we got a game. Another big game for Anthony Calvillo. His last touchdown pass to his tight end, Ryan Bombin, but you've got to finish.
And Kerry Joseph plays 3.5 quarters, 116 yards passing. Matt Nichols comes in and a 95-yard strike on his first pass to Fred Stamps. He has 129 yards here in, well, just about a half quarter of work. 2 touchdowns, and the Eskimos are right back in it.
Well, the Alouettes are going to have to put their hands team on the field, which again is another reason if you have enough time to kick it deep. Of course, the scenario I was talking about is predicated on a 2 and out, which isn't a guarantee with AC at quarterback and Chris Jennings running well.
The Eskimos look like they're kicking deep, and the Alouettes don't have a lot of guys up there, and they are going to go short. It is a jump ball, and the Alouettes have it flagged down, and it looked like the Eskimos might have been offside on the kickoff. But Delorier hanging on to keep it for Montreal.
Well, Eric Delorier.
Offside. Edmonton, number 12. Penalties declined. The ball was recovered by Montreal. First down.
TJ Hill.
And was banged up on it, Chris. But Eric Delorier, I was going to say, he got lucky there. He was waiting on that football to come to him. He had to go and catch it at the high point. I think he knows it. You could tell by his expression. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. But take a look. We'll show you TJ Hill. There's the offside on TJ Hill. Kicker can be in front of the ball. We've seen that a couple of times this year. But watch how Eric Delorier kind of waits and waits and waits. And I thought TJ Hill was going to get there.
Big receiver didn't go attack the ball to make sure, but did secure it. And Hill twisted the knee coming down. I'm a little surprised, and you wonder if the Eskimos saw that the Alouettes were back in regular kick return formation and thought they had an opportunity there.
Yeah, I think there was time to kick it deep, Chris. I really do. I mean, you know.
I'm with you. I would have done that.
And you've seen many times in this league the last 2 minutes, and Tressman talks about it all the time. Mark Tressman, about how the last 2 or 3 minutes of Canadian football is just outstanding with the options that are available and all the time with stop time after every play. You can do a lot of damage in 2 minutes, but they would have needed, obviously to get the 2 and out, get the major, get the ball back, move it down, and then get the 2-point convert. There was a lot of big ifs there hanging. But I'd have kicked it deep.
With all that said, we're talking about a little bit of field position, but, and this is unusual, Adrian McPherson into the game, and a 2 and out, but McPherson's got a lot of room. Look at Adrian McPherson down inside the 40. There's going to be a flag, and Brian Bratton is upset with himself because at the end of the play, the Alouettes are going to be penalized on the illegal block by Bratton. But a 2-and-out by the Eskimos would have got them the ball right back. This penalty should come after first down yardage was acquired.
After the distance for first down was gained, illegal participation, Montreal number 85. Went out of bounds, came back in and made a block. It will be first down.
So the block was illegal because Bratton went out on his own, and it works the same as it would offensively. You can't catch a ball when you run out on your own. You can't be an eligible receiver. You also can't participate in a play and be a blocker. Bratton on the outside. Well, he got pushed out of bounds there.
Yeah, that's a
technically he can't
strange
come back.
call. He should have been able to come back. Chris Jennings runs hard, as he has throughout this game. 8 more for Jennings. Anthony Calvillo back in, so McPherson just for the one play that was certainly a big one for the Owls. Both teams have used their timeouts. And the clock starts to run. Second and a couple. Jennings again. And he gets stacked up and won't get there. And now Mark Trestman has a decision.
Interesting here, too. Decision for him. Do you try the long attempt? If you miss it and it's run out, it's still a one-possession game.
Now he does have the wind at his back. Earlier passed on the opportunity to try a 45-yard field goal against the wind, but they will, or will they?
Well,
see who's coming out.
And he's a yard away as far as thinking about gambling. If you give it up right there, you've still got a lot of field for your defense to play with, but
they're going to punt.
Go ahead and punt it for field position, and it'll still be over a minute here for the Edmonton Eskimos after this play.
So instead of the 47-yarder to put it away, he's not going to gamble.
Again, think about the same scenario, but with a deep kick. We're talking about, what, maybe 30, 40 yards of field position difference.
And even a single helps them out. The single helps them out, but they won't get it as they force Burnett to run it out, and Kyra Sever chucks up another special teams tackle. But there was one where you didn't mind getting your punter to just put it in the end zone. If they get the single, you're a 2-score game, and if not, you pin them anyway.
And rely on the best special teams cover man in the league, Kyra Sever. Yeah, no, there's no question Edmonton had to take that out of the end zone.
Still an opportunity for the Eskimos. Just under a minute remaining. Starting at their 9-yard line. 101 yards away, and Marcus Henry's got a catch. Runs into Gerald Brown at the 35, but a little breathing room. And Matt Nichols is averaging over 30 yards completion since coming in.
Well, Kyra Sever comes down low, and he jams on him and then lets him go down the seam. Oh, Matt Nichols is fine in that seam route.
26-yard pickup. Clock running. Has some time over the middle and incomplete. Henry can't hang on at midfield.
And the Montreal Alouettes, of course, backing off a ton. I mean, look at their safeties right here and how far away from the line of scrimmage they are. They don't want to give up one of those Fred Stamps plays. So they're giving a lot of that intermediate zone that Matt Nichols can hit with 41 seconds. He can take those chunks at 15, 20 yards and three throws and get down close enough to throw it to the end zone.
Kenny Ingram. Well back, looks like man-to-man coverage, and the pass is complete. Harry Koch's got a grab down to the 51-yard line, his second catch of the game. And the Eskimos still alive and getting close to An area where they can take a shot or two at the end zone.
Well, Kerry Cook gets inside of Chip Cox here, and again, it's that intermediate zone that Matt Nichols can take advantage of with the safeties playing so deep right now. Not wanting to give up a touchdown in one play.
Nichols under pressure. Releases it into the flat, and Messam will get stacked up.
I almost think Messam should have just
gone
headed
the other
straight
way
to the sideline as fast as he could and got out of bounds as quickly as he could.
Gets a first down, his first catch of the game, but the clock will start when the referees whistle time in. 20.2 on the clock right now.
Again, that intermediate zone still available for Nichols if he wants it. He's going to have about 3 or 4 plays if he's efficient. Got to get going though here.
Running. The kid's letting the time tick away. Nichols over the middle. There's Coke. He's open. Got the catch down at the 12. And they will get one more play. So the Eskimos will have a chance to take a shot at the end zone here.
Like Matt Nichols wanted it down the ball here.
I don't know why
he was almost.
And he wants to huddle. He wants time to at least talk about it. So clock stops with 1.5 seconds to go. And now they can take a long time to deliberate over the right call in this situation.
And a ball thrown behind the line of scrimmage, so it's not intentional grounding. Just make that note.
Timer. Reset the clock to 3.4 seconds. 3.4 seconds.
I was about to say,
still first down.
Matt Nichols was poor clock management there. Let 7 or 8 run off, but he's got a shot now. Back to 3.4 on the clock.
Matt Nichols with 217 yards passing here in the fourth quarter.
Need 2 more plays. This one and a 2-point cover.
And some confusion here.
The command center, which is to review the last play.
Not sure why they want to review this, unless it is intentional grounding.
Well, any throw behind the line of scrimmage, though, you don't have to have a receiver anywhere in the area. So if that ball was thrown in front of the line of scrimmage intentionally with no receiver around, it would be intentional grounding.
Scoreboard here reads 1st and 10. They've only got one more play anyway, but it should be 2nd and 10.
Behind the line.
We'll see if Al Bradbury gives us the explanation.
No, they're just going to run a play.
So here we go. It's down to this. At the 13-yard line, can Matt Nichols engineer a miracle comeback? Pressure on. End zone for Stamps. He's got it. Touchdown, Fred Stamps. And now the Eskimos will go for 2 and try to force overtime in the unlikeliest of fashions.
Matt Nichols gives his star receiver a chance. He's well covered. The pocket is starting to collapse. He throws it up and just lets Fred Stamps go up and get it on Dwight Anderson. They need one more big play right here.
Second touchdown of the game for Stamps. 3rd thrown by Nichols in this fourth quarter.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats watching this are going, you got to be kidding me. The last 3 minutes of a Canadian Football League game. You got to love it.
Still need one more play just to get it to overtime. Nichols, end zone, not going to be there. And the Alouettes will hang on. Hamilton, take a deep breath. You're still in it. But I think I've got a feeling who's starting at quarterback for the Eskimos next week against Calgary.
Yeah, that's a great point, Chris. Was he ever hot? Came in, his very first pass, hit Fred Stamps. Kerry Coke got jammed up on the line of scrimmage on the two-point convert, couldn't get through his route.
230 yards and 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter for Matt Nichols. Just not quite enough. 27-25 is the final score. Edmonton hasn't nailed down a playoff spot, and Hamilton's still alive. So long from Montreal. MLS Soccer is next.